If you've ever hoped for really cold weather on Sunday for the football game, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Thursday, January 15th edition. Got some more stuff happening here. The big news here is Taiwan Semiconductor reporting earnings. Market has green arrows. Will we hold those green arrows? What levels will we trade above? Will we hold those levels? What else do we have in store? We're going to break all of that down here today. We're going to have a lot of fun here today. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Thursday edition for January 15th, 2026, begins right now. All right. Hello and welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. I hope that you had a great rest of your Wednesday night. I know I spent mine watching a hockey doubleheader last night. In a good mood here today, and great to see the TSM earnings come across the tape. We should have some fun here today. And that SPHL, I see a couple of folks already done for the day before the market even opens. Chef's kiss. Really good work from the group. Cad Monkey is first here today. Good morning, Cad Monkey. Welcome back. Hopefully you're having a great one. And it's just the beginning. It's going to get better here today. Billy, good morning. Welcome back. Billy mentioning SPHL. Indeed, that is a huge Singapore mover. We'll cover that in the pre-market pulse section. I understand it's running right now, but we will let that settle out and cover it a little bit later. Congrats to anybody who had some early profitable trades on that one. Big Dave, good morning. Market looking green today. Indeed, brother, it sure is. Astro K, good morning. Let's rock it. I'm all here for that. If we meet those aliens, that wouldn't be so bad either, would it? Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Austin, it's good to see you as always. Welcome back. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken is locked in and ready to go. Let's go, Zach. Good morning. Brian, good morning. Did roller make anyone else a high roller? So I actually didn't trade this one yesterday, but man, oh man, that was one where the afternoon trade was really where it was, really where it was at. We did talk about this on Happy Hour. Hopefully some of y'all became high rollers or got rollers from that. We'll see. Tara, good morning. Welcome back. Knights Lance, good morning. Welcome back. Defense stocks up, and I think there's probably some more room to run, isn't there? We'll see. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Who am I missing here? Jim, good morning. Jim's asking if there's a quiet day in store. Jim, have we had a quiet day yet? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We'll see if we have any continued upside move or if it turns into a sell-off. I think that we're probably not going to hear about the SCOTUS stuff until tomorrow, so maybe that will alleviate it. And then we had tempers kind of tamped down a little bit with Iran last night, so we'll see. We'll see if it's a quiet day. Good to see the green arrows here early. Big Dave, congratulations on making that money. Carlos, good morning. Welcome back. Archangel, good morning. Welcome back. Richard Judge, good morning. It's great to see you. Ryan Summerall, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Super Mario, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Lost Penny, good morning. H&H Tactical, good morning. It's good to see you here. Durkis, good morning. Yassine, good morning. GS kicked my butt and I need chart analysis. Okay, we will see if we can take a look at GS. They reported earnings here this morning. They're actually trading down on a mixed report there, which I guess is a bit interesting. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader, good morning. It's good to see you as always. Tyler, good morning. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Cam, good morning. Jane, good morning. Let's see. Who else do I have going on here? Rooster, good morning. Work Life, good morning. Robot to Trade, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Ash, new to the show. Welcome, Ash. Hopefully you enjoy yourself here. Frank, good morning. Soon to be Bears 49ers. We'll meet again. Frank, I love your optimism there. And I'll tell you, that was one of the games of the year. So if we get a rematch of that, that wouldn't be so bad. Good morning. Welcome back. Let's see. What else am I missing here? Smita, good morning. And Zabeth Trades, good morning. Big Bees. Good morning, boss. It's good to see all you folks. All right, let's get started with the stock market today. All right, futures green ahead of Thursday's open here on the backs of the Taiwan Semiconductor earnings beat. S&P futures trading up by 0.39%. Dow futures actually flat. They were higher earlier, but have pared those gains back to unchanged. And the NASDAQ leading the way higher at 0.86%. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. While energy, consumer staples, and real estate stocks recorded the biggest gains on Wednesday, consumer discretionary and information technology stocks slid, which pulled the broader U.S. markets lower. A U.S. stock market futures rose on Thursday following Wednesday's decline. Futures of major benchmark indices were higher, as we just outlined, and they're looking pretty good here this morning. NASDAQ Composite fell 1% on Wednesday as reports of a 25% tariff on select semiconductor imports overshadowed U.S. approval for exports to China. Meanwhile, the tariff uncertainty persists as the Supreme Court again delayed its ruling on the framework's legality. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.15%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.52%. Additionally, the CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show the market pricing in a 95% likelihood the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged at the next meeting. Now, we have several stocks in focus for you here today. The first one's going to be Goldman Sachs, ticker GS, perhaps the cream of the crop for investment banking. It was 0.44% lower in pre-market on Thursday as analysts expect it to report quarterly earnings before the bell. We've got those earnings here this morning. It was actually a beat on EPS and a miss on sales. EPS was 14.01 versus the 11.65 estimate. Sales were 13.45 versus the 13.79 estimate. So Goldman Sachs actually trading down here today, although only slightly, looking like 9.19 here in the pre-market after closing at 9.39 yesterday. The second stock on our list is going to be Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker TSM. That gained 4.46% and has extended its gain to 6+% after it reported a 35% surge in its profit for the fourth quarter, also topping estimates. Its net profits jumped to 505.7 billion Taiwanese dollars, or 16 billion USD, recording its seventh consecutive quarter of double-digit growth. Meanwhile, ASML also rose 4.93% to top a $500 billion market cap. The AI trade is not dead, and TSM showing you it is going to roll on, that's for sure. The next stock on our list is going to be Applied Materials. The ticker is AMAT. We call it AMAT around these parts. It rose 6% after Susquehanna analyst Mendy Hassini upgraded the stock to positive from neutral and upped the price target to 400 from 180. Oh, what an increase on that price target. The next stock here is going to be Amazon. That's ticker AMZN. That was up 0.67% after Amazon Web Services launched a new European sovereign cloud with 7.8 billion or 7.8 billion euro, or 9.1 billion USD investment. The last stock on our list is going to be Calavo Growers. That's ticker CVGW. Shares surged 12.93% despite posting downbeat results for the fourth quarter. However, Mission Produce announced plans to acquire Calavo at $27 per share. So I guess if you're going to report bad earnings, you might as well do it on the same day that you're going to get acquired. That way your stock goes up. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY. See where we're at on the chart here. Yesterday, we came back in and we tested the 20-day moving average. Now, the technical spot here, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Depending on how you drew your line, will depend on whether or not we actually closed above this trend line. So again, just to kind of review this, we originated this near the bottom of the candle on November 21st, not the wick, but the actual bottom of the body, and it goes through the body of the December 17th candle. That means that the end of this trend line here, we actually closed above it. Now, depending on how you drew that, if you actually drew that trend line from the bottom of the wick, it looks like the candle yesterday did not quite break above this trend line and instead is actually using that as resistance. Nonetheless, today on the back of the Taiwan Semiconductor, we've actually popped back into that range. So no matter how you drew your line, at least for this morning, at least for the open, we're going to be back above the trend line. And no matter how you drew your line, we clearly tested the 20-day moving average to the downside, bounced and held it. We'll see if we have that strength to do that here today, or if we kind of reverse this. So we had set a couple of all-time highs before. Let me reset this chart. We had set a couple of all-time highs before, but we really didn't have the strength to move higher. We just kind of set the all-time high and sat there. I've extended the top side trend line out. We'll see if we break above that and maybe make a run towards 700 on the SPY or 7,000 on the S&P cash. Seems like that's still what the market is waiting for. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts here. BlackRock maintains an optimistic outlook, for the U.S. market, keeping an overweight stance on equities driven by solid U.S. economic growth and the transformative potential of artificial intelligence. A key driver for this confidence is the observation that U.S. corporate earnings strength is broadening, meaning the profit growth previously concentrated in the Mag 7 is now extending to other sectors. This is something that we actually spent a lot of time talking about last year, and it's fantastic that we're seeing this materialize here in 2026. Hopefully, we see that continue. Doesn't mean that it's over for the Mag 7, not by any means, but a little bit of broadening out from the concentration that we had seen, which was at historic levels. That's definitely a good thing. Economically, the firm sees a unique environment where megaforces are trumping the traditional macro and driving returns. This shift supports their preference for AI and cyclical sectors like industrials and materials, which benefit from infrastructure and data center buildouts. They characterize the labor market as being no hiring, no firing stasis, which supports consumption without overheating. Despite the positivity, BlackRock remains vigilant, noting that renewed wage gains could signal sticky inflation that will curb how soon the Fed might cut interest rates again. Ultimately, they conclude, quote, "We stay overweight U.S. equities and pro-risk on the AI theme." Just a quick reminder here of some of the economic data that we're expecting today. The initial jobless claims data for the week ending Jan 10 will be out here in about 17 minutes at 8:30 Eastern, along with November's delayed U.S. import price data, January's Empire State Manufacturing Survey, and the Philadelphia Fed's Manufacturing Survey. Fed Governor Michael Barr will speak at 9:15. Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin will speak at 12:40. And Kansas City Fed President Jeff Schmid will speak at 1:30. Now, let's talk a little bit about Taiwan Semiconductor. I got two stories here. There's some overlap, so I'm going to give you the rundown here, and then I want to dive into a couple of more specifics. I apologize in advance if I do any overlap here. Title of this: Chip stocks soar after Taiwan Semiconductor smashes AI bubble fears. So, producer, you know what that means. That's got me thinking we might need a poll question here. What do we think about the AI bubble? Maybe come up with three different responses for that, and we'll see what the group thinks. A blowout earnings report from the world's most critical chip supplier reignited the semiconductor rally on Thursday, underscoring just how tightly the sector is now tethered to the AI spending supercycle. Semiconductor chip stocks led by NVIDIA gained on Thursday after Taiwan Semiconductor's earnings confirmed that AI supercycle. Taiwan Semiconductor beats fourth quarter expectations, reinforcing its role as a key supplier to customers like NVIDIA. The company posted net sales of $33.73 billion, which was up 20.5% year over year, and also topped the $33.27 billion analyst consensus. Net income rose 35% to $16.31 billion, and EPS came in at $3.14, above the $2.79 consensus estimate. Big beat there. Margins expanded as utilization improved and costs came down, with gross margins now reaching an eye-popping 62.3%. Its projected first quarter 2026 revenue of about $34.6 billion to $35.8 billion, with a gross margin of 63 to 65%. The company also forecasts about 30% full year 2026 revenue growth in U.S. dollar terms and outlined 2026 capex of $52 to $56 billion, with 70 to 80% aimed at advanced technologies. Now, the broader semiconductor ecosystem is benefiting from this momentum. Broadcom, ticker AVGO, Advanced Micro Devices, ticker AMD. Marvell Technologies, ticker MRVL. Who's still in that? Lion, are you still in that? I can't remember. Marvell, Micron, ticker MU, and ARM Holdings, ticker ARM, which we don't talk about a lot here. They all gained, bearing testimony to the interconnected nature of the semiconductor ecosystem. Chip equipment maker ASML also gained on Thursday. We saw that gapping up 4% as well. Semiconductor stocks continue to bask in the glory of surging investor interest as big tech giants remain aggressive in their AI ambitions. NVIDIA became the first company to top the $4.5 trillion market cap, surpassing the likes of Apple and Microsoft, highlighting the sector's growing influence. As of mid-January 2026, the recent rally has solidified Taiwan Semiconductor as the sixth largest company by market cap globally, ahead of Meta and Broadcom. A little bit of shaking around there at the top. That's pretty awesome. A little bit of shaking around here on the webpage too, it seems. Okay, that's the rundown there for Taiwan Semiconductor. I do have another story. I'm not going to read this entire one. This is a little bit more in depth on some of the different aspects of Taiwan Semiconductor. So I'll drop it in the chat here, and any of you that want this, go ahead. But I do want to go through a couple of things here real quick. They delivered the fourth quarter earnings results, key suppliers. We talked about the net sales, the net income. The company stated, here we go. The company stated that 3 nanometer technologies accounted for 28% of total revenue. 5 nanometer technologies accounted for 35%, and the 7 nanometer technologies accounted for 14%. Advanced technologies, which is 7 nanometers and below, accounted for 77% of the total wafer revenue. By platform, high-performance computing, or HPC, and smartphones represented 55% and 32% of net revenue, respectively, while Internet of Things, automotive, DCE, and others represented 5%, 5%, 1%, and 2%, respectively. From a geographic perspective, revenue from customers based in North America accounted for 74% of total net revenue in the fourth quarter of 2025. 74% U.S. origin. In contrast, revenue from Asia Pacific, China, Japan, and the EMEA, which is Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, accounted for 9%, 9%, 4%, and 4% of total net revenue, respectively. This ought to just show you the scale of how important the United States is, not only to this company, but to AI in general. Taiwan Semiconductor's AI technology moat helped it expand its quarterly gross margins by 330 basis points to 62.3%. Topping the company's quarterly guidance of 59 to 61%, which is already pretty high. The margin expansion reflects a higher capacity utilization rate and cost improvement efforts. The operating margin expanded by 5,000 basis points to 54%, exceeding the company's quarterly outlook of 49 to 51%. Free cash flow increased by 229.22 billion new Taiwanese dollars to an inflow of 368.6 billion new Taiwanese dollars in the quarter. An increase in operating cash flow outpaced the increase in capital expenditures. Net cash generated from operating activities rose to 725.51 billion new Taiwanese dollars in the fourth quarter, and that was up from 620.21 billion new Taiwanese dollars a year earlier. The company ended the quarter with 3.1 trillion new Taiwanese dollars, or 98 billion USD in cash and marketable securities. On the earnings call here, CEO C.C. Wei said the company has directly validated AI demand with hyperscalers and their end customers, concluding that AI is a multi-year structural growth driver rather than a short-term cycle. Quote, all in all, I believe in my point of view, the AI is real. Not only real, it's starting to grow into our daily life. We believe it is we call it AI megatrend, end quote. While capital remains tight in the near term, the company is addressing supply constraints through productivity gains, higher utilization, and node optimization, alongside a sharp increase in capital spending. The company is also U.S. manufacturing expansion, particularly in Arizona, to support long-term AI high-performance computing demand while reiterating confidence in sustained revenue growth and profitability. Analysts also raised questions about the competitive risks of Intel, which we've been talking about recently, Intel's foundry ambitions, particularly following public comments highlighting potential partnerships between Intel and large U.S. chip designers. Wei acknowledged that Intel is a, quote, formidable competitor, end quote, but emphasized the structural and technical barriers to displacing Taiwan Semiconductor at the leading edge. And we've been talking about this for a long time. It's great that Intel is closing the gap. It's great that they're advancing here, but they're not the same here as Taiwan Semiconductor. And I think the numbers show a lot of that. Wei said Taiwan Semiconductor does not underestimate our competitors' progress, but stressed confidence in the company's long-standing technology leadership, manufacturing execution, and customer trust built over decades. Quote, "Are we afraid of it? For 30-some years, we're always in competition with our competitor. So no, we have a confidence to keep our business growing as we estimated." End quote. So I agree here with Day Trader. This is an easy way to summarize this entire thing. CEO is being very clear about it, but nobody's in the same league as Taiwan Semiconductor. That's completely correct. Taiwan Semiconductor guided first quarter 2026 revenue of $34.6 billion to $35.8 billion. The chipmaker projects full year 2026 revenue to grow by approximately 30% in USD terms. It's also planning significant capital expenditures in 2026, with 70 to 80% allocated to those advanced technologies. Okay, how are we doing on time here? Still good? Yep. We're still good here. All right. Next story here. This is going to be with some of the global macro stuff here with Iran. We did have a little bit of a change yesterday. Trump softens his stance on the Iran regime change, but said he would be fine with Reza Pahlavi's leadership. Despite being skeptical about Iran's exiled crown prince Reza Pahlavi's leadership, President Trump signaled openness should Iranians choose him. Trump told Reuters on Wednesday that Pahlavi, quote, seems very nice, end quote, but added that he was unsure how he would fare within Iran, noting that the situation has not yet reached that stage. He also questioned whether Iranians would accept Pahlavi's leadership, while saying that if they did, it would be fine with him. Lindsey Graham met with him yesterday. Meanwhile, Pahlavi stated on X that a free Iran would dismantle its nuclear military program and immediately end support for terrorist groups. The nation would also cooperate with regional and international partners to combat terrorism, organized crime, drug trafficking, and extremist Islamism. Protests triggered by inflation and collapsing real have escalated into Iran's largest anti-government uprising since 1979, unsettling global markets. The unrest also had a notable impact on the oil market, with West Texas Intermediate crude rising for the sixth straight session and reaching $62 a barrel on Wednesday, as traders factor in the increased risk of potential oil supply disruptions and the possibility of U.S. military action. When last checked, oil was trading 2.84% lower at $62.25 a barrel. I'm looking at the oil futures now here. Crude /CL here, $59, actually down 4.5%. So oil, despite trading up in the back of this news, it's actually come back in now a little bit. Trump has warned Iran of dire consequences over the death of protesters, but has previously downplayed Pahlavi's role in a potential regime change. Come on, really? Reuters also reported that the U.S. is pulling some personnel as a precaution from the Middle East bases following Iranian warnings of potential strikes if Washington attacks. Prediction markets signal an escalating risk, with PolyMarket placing an 81% chance of a U.S. strike on Iran by month's end and a 56% probability that the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei is out by June 30th, raising questions about the Islamic Republic's continuity. So this was affecting oil yesterday. It's affecting it again here today. I'm not sure how this is all going to turn out, but this is definitely something that's going to affect some of these stocks. I know I've been trading ConocoPhillips. Several of you have been trading ExxonMobil or Chevron on the back of the whole Venezuela thing. But we've got some other things that are impacting the oil market. Just figured y'all should be ready for that. The other thing that we are waiting for here, the Supreme Court delay tariff ruling, is it a sign of a potential victory for Trump? The Supreme Court's delay in delivering a verdict on the use of the emergency powers to implement tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or the IEEPA, could be a sign of a favorable outcome for President Trump, and that's according to JP Morgan analysts. For a second time, the Supreme Court declined to rule on the legality of Trump's tariffs on Wednesday and did not set a date for a future decision, although we kind of hypothesized that it might be Friday. In a note to clients, the analysts Amy Ho and Joyce Cheng highlighted that the longer the court takes to make a decision, the more likely it is leaning towards the Trump administration, despite legal experts predicting otherwise. That was reported by Fortune yesterday. The analyst noted that historically, the Supreme Court saves the most consequential rulings for the end of its term in June, allowing for extended deliberation. They also noted that the underlying case involves potential tariff refunds of $135 billion. Trump on Monday warned of dire economic consequences for the U.S. if the Supreme Court rules against the federal government in the ongoing legal challenges of its tariff policies. He reiterated that a negative ruling could force the U.S. to repay many hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs already collected, with potential costs ballooning into the trillions once investments are factored in. This is something that we have been talking about a lot. There's been some back and forth on this. We actually saw Costco trade up, possibly on the fact that it has sued. I'll continue here. Well, we'll talk about Costco in a sec. Despite the ongoing legal challenges, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent expressed confidence that the administration would be able to enforce its tariff policies regardless of the outcome of the Supreme Court case. He pointed to various sections of the 1962 Trade Act that grant the president significant authority over import duties. Kevin Hassett has said some of the same thing as well. Meanwhile, in December, Costco has taken legal action against the Trump administration, seeking a complete refund of all duties collected under the IEEPA, highlighting concerns over whether all businesses that have paid duties would be eligible for refunds if the Supreme Court rules the tariffs unlawful. Several companies, including Revlon Consumer Products and Kawasaki Motors, have filed similar lawsuits in a U.S. trade court since late October. So this theme is going to be a thing until they actually release this decision. And as of right now, we just don't know when that's going to be. We just don't know. Okay. I know on Thursday we generally don't have a guest, but today I have a special surprise for you. So we are going to bring on our guest right here. We are going to be talking to CEO Michael Breen, the CEO of Biopharma. Let's go ahead and give him a warm pre-market playbook welcome. Michael, good morning. How you doing?
Hi, good morning to you. I'm very, very well and very, very excited to be on your show. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, we love talking to CEOs, especially when they've got news. I really appreciate you taking the time here today to join us. Really quickly, CEO of Biopharma, the ticker is GTBP, and it's listed on the NASDAQ. It's a clinical stage immuno-oncology company focused on developing innovative therapeutics based in the company's proprietary natural killer cell engager TriKE platform. Hopefully I got that right there.
You got that perfectly. Hit the nail on the head.
Beautiful. Michael, I'm just going to turn this over to you. Can you tell us some more about the company?
Sure, very happy to. So we're a clinical stage research oncology company. So we're effectively trying to find a cure for various different cancers. We're currently conducting a stage 1 first-in-human trial for blood cancer, specifically for acute myeloid leukemia. We're about halfway through that trial. And we've already seen some very interesting data from that, and we're hoping to release more data as the first half of this year goes through. In addition, we are working on for a new investigational new drug application filed with the FDA, and that's going to be for solid tumors. And we really are very, very excited about this because we're going to try and attack all of the prolific solid tumors. So that's going to be what's called a basket trial. And we're going after things like prostate cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, head and neck cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, and also bladder cancer. So all of the cancers that affect so many people worldwide, both men and women, but also are very difficult to cure. So we're very excited about that. And then just to explain how our technology actually works. So it's an NK cell engager, which means that our engager effectively, for want of a better phrase, helps to supercharge the body's natural killer cells. So a subset of your white blood cells, and it not only activates your natural killer cells, but it also helps to proliferate and give persistence to those natural killer cells so that they then have the ability, when they find and detect cancer, they can switch on and then also, and this is the important bit, are sufficiently produced in number to overwhelm the cancer, to kill it, and to keep killing it because it has sufficient persistence.
That sounds really exciting. And just on a personal note here, I actually lost my own father to lung cancer. So this hits home. You're exactly right about how many people this affects. This really hits home for me, and
Very,
I'm excited to see your journey here.
I'm so sorry to hear that, but like you say, horribly, it affects so many people around the world. You know, for example, it's estimated that prostate cancer affects 1 in 8 men
Mhm.
worldwide at some point in their life, and breast cancer, it's estimated to be somewhere between 1 in 6 and 1 in 7 women worldwide at some point in their life. These cancers are really horrible and prolific, and it's really important also. You know, our immunotherapy is a whole new way of tackling cancer. And what's important is we're trying to find a more humane solution, not like what's currently the options are offered. So chemotherapy, which effectively poisons your blood and actually, ironically, wipes out your immune system, wipes out the very NK cells that you need in your immune system to kill disease. And then there's obviously also radiotherapy or surgery. And I think in 20 years' time, physicians will look back on how cancer was treated for the last 80 years, pretty much post the Second World War, and they'll say, Gosh, we got that so wrong. It was a barbaric treatment. But now we have immunotherapy, which is a much more humane way of dealing with it in a much more intelligent way because you're supercharging the body's own natural immune system. So it's a natural solution.
I'm all about that. I'm all about the natural angles here. Okay, let's talk about the big news here this morning. I'm just going to read you the piece of news as it was released here. GT Biopharma announces IND submission for GTB 5550 TriKE and reports preliminary unaudited cash balance of about $7 million as of December 31st. So, can you tell us more about this news and specifically why it's important for the company? I know you kind of already touched on it.
Sure. So it's extraordinarily important for the company because whilst I've already touched on the fact that we're currently conducting a phase 1 first in human trial for blood cancer, the blood cancer market is relatively small. The solid tumor market is estimated to be something of the order worldwide annually $362 billion. And the target that our TriKE technology is seeking to attack is something called B7H3, and that is something that's highly expressed in a large number of solid tumor cancers. So we believe that we're absolutely on the right path with regard to the target that we have identified and we're going to tackle in terms of expression of the solid tumor. And it will also help with regard to binding affinity because our technology is also what's called nanobody technology, which just means it's much smaller fragments and it's easier to bind on to the cancer cells. And it's camelid technology, which is also very potent. So we're very excited about that. But as I've explained a moment ago, the trial will be for 7 different solid tumor cancers. And like I said, prostate, breast cancer, lung cancer, these cancers are very difficult to kill and very prolific. around the world. So if we get a signal in just one of these, it will be very significant for the company commercially.
Mhm.
And then in relation to where we are at cash at bank, it's also very important, being an oncology research company, that you have sufficient money to
Mhm.
execute your trials. And having $7 million on hand, that will certainly see us through the third quarter of this year. It means that we are able to finish our existing blood cancer trial. We will be very excited to be opening our solid tumor trial around the midpoint of 2026, and also obviously start dosing patients from there. And the other thing, of course, is because these solid tumors are very prolific, it means that we will have lots of patients on hand to participate in our trial. So we're incredibly excited about this news this morning.
Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. You did a good job highlighting the next steps and some of your operational goals for 2026 as well. Let me just kind of stick with the balance sheet and the capital there, because that's something our audience is always looking at no matter what the news is. Are there
Yep.
any plans to raise capital, and how do you see the balance sheet now given this news?
That's a great question. So in terms of capital raise, I think it's fair and reasonable to highlight to the audience that being a oncology research company, uh, our activities are funded by capital raises
Mhm.
and investment. So it's something that companies like ours do from time to time to make sure that we've always got sufficient funds available to us to do what we need to do. So we probably will conduct another capital raise at some point later this year. We have got an extended line of credit available to us,
Mhm.
um, which is the line when it was originally granted was for 20 million. So we have the option of drawing down on that, and that, as you can imagine, is a very significant amount of money. Um,
Mhm.
I'm also delighted to say that the investors who put this extended line of credit in place have been investors with the company for a long time. So even before, some of them, in fact, go back to 2017, which kind of demonstrates that they're um, very convinced that our science is the correct science, that our company research is on the right path, and also the inventor of our science, who is a gentleman called Professor Jeffrey Miller out of the University of Minnesota. He's been working on this space for the last 25 years, and he is regarded as the key opinion leader, or one of the key opinion leaders in the NK engager space. So we're in very good shape, as I say, in relation to the cash available to us.
Mhm.
The balance sheet is strong, and we can either opt to do the extended line of credit or do a fundraising later in the year as needs must.
Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Look, real quick here, what's the overall goal here for GT Biopharma? Are you looking to make more mergers and acquisitions? Are you taking the drug to market alone? Can you explain any of this?
Of course. No, that really is a great question, by the way. Really hits the nail on the head. And that is probably the thing that most listeners and viewers are very interested in knowing what the end game is. So
Mhm.
for me, as a CEO of an oncology research company, I could say to you, oh yes, end game is we're going to take the market ourselves. But in honesty, it's such a long-term thing and costs so much. I would much prefer to have a joint venture with a
Mhm.
big pharma company so that you effectively work in close proximity with them. You explain to them what you're doing, you get their buy-in to what you're doing, and they come along the journey with you because they believe in the management team and they believe in the science. That's first and foremost. But of course, if you achieve that, then the byproducts that are likely to come with that relationship is that they will fund, or certainly assist funding, a significant portion of the trials that you need to go through, whether it's phase one, phase two, or phase three, and then and then ultimately. So, for example, with our trial for solid tumors, If we get to where we're hoping to get to and we get a signal, then of course you already have a relationship with big pharma, and it is hoped, and certainly it's kind of the norm, that if you have a relationship with big pharma as a joint venture partner, when you get to a certain inflection point, then big pharma makes you an offer to buy you out and take over the company, and that's probably the end game.
Okay, that is exactly what I was going for there. That's fantastic. Look, Michael, again, we really, really appreciate this. Is there anything else that I didn't cover that you would like to share with investors?
You've been very comprehensive in your questioning, and very laser focused, which I thank you for. I think all I'd say to you is we have very, very novel technology. It's immunotherapy. It's all of our trials so far have proved it to be very safe. We're very excited to be doing a blood cancer trial. We're going to be super excited to be conducting a solid tumor trial later this year. And then we also have a platform technology, which means that we simply swap out the target if we want to go after a different type of disease or cancer. So, for example, we also have a rich and deep pipeline of other drug candidates, including things like autoimmune disease and HIV. And that is the significant benefit of our technology and the significant benefit of having platform technology.
Okay, absolutely fantastic. Michael Breen, CEO of GT Biopharma. The ticker is GTBP, and it's listed on the NASDAQ. Michael, once again, I can't thank you enough for taking time to join us this morning when you had news. A couple of comments here from the chat. I'm going to have to watch these guys. This is a great company. I will definitely be watching this company. Really, really good stuff. Appreciate you doing this work on a personal and a professional note, and thank you for joining us here this morning.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
All right, look forward to following up with Michael as we get more news here on GT Biopharma. Again, folks, what we're going to try and do here is we're going to bring you the people that are responsible for driving these companies, and we will get them to tell you exactly what the goal is here. So really, really great stuff. Big thanks to Michael for joining us here, and thank you, folks, for just kind of participating in that. Really, really exciting. And as mentioned earlier, there's kind of a personal note here for me. So I too will be following this and hoping that we can get really, really good results. So excellent stuff there. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the next segment here. Let's actually talk a little bit about some of these street tweets. Let's go ahead and start our, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to call an audible here. Producer, I apologize for throwing you off here. I'm going to call an audible. Let's go ahead and bring up Benzinga Pro again. So we just had, we've got a couple of stocks that were already moving here. We just talked to Michael for GT Biopharma, and we are expecting stocks to move and gap up here. And I think that we cover this every single day. I show you all of the different stocks that are gapping and all of that, but I just wanted to spend 2 minutes to kind of give you an overview on how you all can do this at home by yourself. You don't need us to do this. You can actually do this by yourself. And that actually brings me to Benzinga Pro here. So really quick, I believe Benzinga Pro is the best tools to find stocks that are gapping on a daily basis. We have a tool that is very, very lightweight and easy to use that gives you all of this information. And it's called the Movers tool. Now, one more thing, we've actually done so much of the work for you that basically all you have to do is point and click to start doing this. We have a preset workspace in Benzinga Pro titled What's Moving. And if you launch this, it launches the exact 2 tools that you need to find this every single day. So I'm being given a movers tool, and I'm given a details tool. Of course, in the details tool, I can find news, short interest, company insider information, the chart, all of the stuff that we look at on a regular basis. But the real special sauce here is, in fact, the movers tool. It allows you to pick and choose. Do you want to see stocks that are gapping up or gapping down? So in this case, we're going to start with gainers. We're actually going to click on the pre-market, because what this tool does is it allows you to scan the different segments of the market. And in this case, we want to know what's going on in the pre-market. We have it sorted here by its percent change. So the end result now is that we have a list of stocks that are gapping up. Do you want to see the stocks that are gapping lower? Simply click on losers, and you'll be presented the same list in the other direction. You can do this every single day. You can apply other filters here like sector, market cap, volume, float, and price filters that meet your own trading needs. And then because you have this set up here together, you can literally click through each of these stocks. You can look at the chart, you can look at the news, you can add indicators. In this case, here's SPHL. This is another one of the stocks that's really moving here. You can find out exactly why that's moving here today. You can find out exactly what the float is. You can find out what the share structure is. You can look at the financial reports, the balance sheet, the income statement. All of that is available to you here just at a couple of clicks. So if you're looking to find stocks that are gapping up or down on a regular basis, look no further than Benzinga Pro. The tool is already turned into a preset and is extremely easy to use. This can help you get prepared every day for what's going on in the market. And hey, look at that, GTBP gapping up here today on the back of that IND news that we just talked to Michael about. So it doesn't matter what's happening out there. Doesn't matter if we talk to people or interview them. You will be able to stay on top of the market with Benzinga Pro. Movers tool is the best tool to find stocks that are gapping. Okay, just wanted to go into that a little bit more there because sometimes we just roll through it really, really quickly. Now, producer, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these street tweets. Okay, first one here. We've been talking about the AI craze, how great it is. Taiwan Semiconductor reported their earnings. It's blasting off here today. Unusual Whales tweeting, quote, Dell admits consumers don't care about AI PCs, end quote. That is per The Verge. Now, this is important because the AI theme, we've all kind of talked about this. It's going to be around for a long time. We've talked about capital spending focused on AI going into 2030, the whole 9 yards. Here's the thing. Really what this is going to come down to is what does the AI tool or what does the AI product do for you? And one of the things that we've seen are large language models. Y'all play around with that, whether it be to uncover stock information or write funny lyrics to classic songs that you like. Large language models, the chatbot, it's only so much. And in this case, that's basically what was included in some of these AI PCs. In fact, if you look through some of the comments of this tweet, and for any of you that wants this tweet, let me go ahead and drop it here in the chat for you. Dell admits consumers don't care about AI PCs. Finally, some honesty in the tech industry. Most of us just want a laptop with a great screen and a battery that lasts 12 hours. We don't need a dedicated button for a chatbot we can access within the browser. So we've talked a lot about what is AI actually going to do when it's all said and done. Turns out just having an AI PC that costs a little bit more, probably not very accretive. Let's see how AI can actually benefit in other segments. We've talked a lot about reviewing health data and how some of these healthcare and pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies can utilize AI. Probably a little bit better than an AI PC. Let's go to our next street tweet here today. This one is going to be from Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase. After reviewing the Senate banking draft text over the last 48 hours, Coinbase, unfortunately, can't support the bill as written. There are too many issues, including a de facto ban on tokenized equities, DeFi prohibitions giving the government unlimited access to your financial records and removing your right to privacy, erosion of the CFTC's authority, stifling innovation and making it subservient to the SEC, draft amendments that would kill rewards on stablecoins, allowing banks to ban their competition. We appreciate all of the hard work by members of the Senate to reach a bipartisan outcome, but this final version would be materially worse than the current status quo. We'd rather have no bill than a bad bill. Hopefully, we can all get to a better draft. We'll keep fighting for all Americans and for economic freedom. Crypto needs to be treated on a level playing field with the rest of the financial services so we can build this industry in a safe and trusted way in America. So, Interesting here. Brian Armstrong telling you, nope, we don't like this bill here. We really don't. Crushes DeFi, bans turning stocks into digital tokens, kills the rewards on stable coins. looks like no bueno here. I would love to get the opinion from the group. Day trader, not to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot. What do you think of this? Where do you think we go next? And perhaps most importantly, what does it mean for stocks like Coinbase and other crypto-related stocks? Okay, let's see. How much time do I have? I got 10 minutes before our next segment, which is excellent because I actually had two really quick news stories that I wanted to go through. Again, I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to get these in, but now we can. So let me talk a little bit here about AMD. We have a top analyst says AMD's 2026 success depends on three factors, and it doesn't need to beat NVIDIA. Shea Ballure, the chief market strategist of Futurum Equities, has highlighted three key factors that could determine the success of AMD in 2026. In a post on X on Tuesday, Ballure began by emphasizing the importance of AMD's CPUs, which he describes as the company's cash engine. Everything gets blown out of proportion about GPUs and AI calculations and this, that, and the other thing. And here we have a viewpoint that the CPUs are actually going to be the driving factor here for AMD. He said that these data center CPUs will be a key growth driver for AMD, benefiting from tight supply, strong hyperscaler demand, possible price hikes, and over 50% server CPU growth, providing operating leverage as GPUs scale. For anyone that wants to actually go through the tweets, I'll drop the article here as well. Secondly, he pointed out that Helios, a shipment test using real consumer deployments and sustained volumes, would determine whether AMD can move from a component supplier to a full platform vendor. Am I still live, producer? I'm getting some air here in StreamYard. We good? We are good. Okay, cool. I'm just going to keep rolling here then. Lastly, the strategist says that AMD doesn't need to beat NVIDIA. It needs major customers like Microsoft, Meta, Oracle, and Tesla to adopt procurement rules that avoid single vendor AI infrastructure, making AMD part of the default architecture rather than the deal-by-deal competitor. Now, Buller's post comes as President Trump on Wednesday imposed a 25% tariff on select high-end AI chips from companies like NVIDIA and AMD, and is part of a broader strategy to reduce U.S. dependence on foreign-made chips, posing economic and security risks. Nevertheless, AMD has been actively taking on NVIDIA in the AI hardware market. The company recently rolled out new chips and faster systems aimed at the data center market, challenging NVIDIA's dominance in the sector. AMD CEO Lisa Su has also predicted a massive increase in global compute demand far beyond data centers. She believes the world's entering a Yoda-scale era of computing, which will require an unprecedented expansion of global computing capacity. Now, sticking with our theme here, again, just want to promote how great the Benzinga Edge rankings are. Once again, we thank Tim Melvin for helping us with this. Edge rankings place AMD in the 85th percentile for quality and the 91st percentile for momentum. So if you're trying to do a scan to find quality stocks that also have strong momentum, perhaps look no further than AMD here. Benzinga Screener allows you to compare this performance with its peers as well. Okay, next here, more tariff news. Let's talk about this here real quick. We get asked about these stocks quite a bit. So I figure might as well just kind of cover this here. Trump holds off on critical minerals tariffs and instead turns to trade partners. President Donald Trump has opted for now to hold off on imposing tariffs on rare earth, lithium, and other critical minerals. Instead, he's directing his administration to seek solutions with international trading partners following the security review. Trump's decision follows a Section 232 investigation led by Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, which concluded that the United States is dangerously over-reliant on foreign sources of processed critical minerals and their derivative products. According to the White House, the U.S. was 100% net importer reliant for 12 critical minerals. Furthermore, it's 50% reliant on 29 more, exposing key industries to supply disruptions and price volatility. Quote, these circumstances are a significant national security vulnerability that could be exploited by foreign actors, end quote. The White House went on, noting the importance that these minerals have for defense systems, energy infrastructure, and other advanced technologies. Rather than moving immediately to tariffs, Trump ordered Lutnick and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer to instead engage with those trading partners. Those talks are expected to focus on mechanisms such as price floors for critical minerals, a proposal that has gained traction among Western miners and policymakers and was discussed this week at meetings involving G7 finance ministers and officials from countries including Australia. If these negotiations are unsuccessful, Trump might proceed with further action, according to Reuters. He'd consider setting minimum import prices on critical minerals or take other measures. Lutnick's report warned that domestic mining doesn't guarantee security if the U.S. remains dependent on foreign countries for refining and processing. While the U.S. is the world's second largest producer of mined rare earth oxides, its limited processing capacity means much of that material must still be exported for refining rather than re-imported. China, of course, plays an outsized role in the issue. It's a top global producer of more than half of the 54 minerals deemed critical by the U.S. Geological Survey and dominates refining capacity for many of them. Over the past year, Beijing has curtailed exports of several materials amid escalating trade tensions with Washington, reinforcing concerns about supply chain concentration. Trump's order explicitly acknowledges that reliance poses a strategic risk. Quote, mining a material domestically does not safeguard the national security of the United States if the United States remains dependent on a foreign country for the processing of that mineral. Meanwhile, Lutnick report noted a disturbing trend, despite declines in the U.S. refining, manufacturing, and production of critical minerals, domestic demand is rising and rapidly and is expected to continue rising. Drivers include expanding defense needs, the growth of data centers, nuclear energy, and new energy technologies. The reality makes resolving the issue a priority for the administration. Trump directed Lutnick and Greer to report back within 180 days on the progress of those negotiations, while authorizing continued monitoring of imports and leaving open the option of tariffs if the other trade measures fail. Now, this is important. The reason I'm going through this is because we actually just talked with a couple of traders saying, hey, some of these rare earth or mineral stocks are actually still in play. Here's a look at the USAR chart. Tell you what, just looking at the chart, it sure looks like this is bottomed. Actually looks like it's forcing a potential short-term breakout of this recent high. Let's call it sub 20. And look at the range that we have actually carved out by the previous price. I still have my fib extension chart layered on top of this. So significant upside targets here. This is definitely something that's not going away. And at minimum, you should keep some of these stocks on your back burner and trade them accordingly. Another one to add to this would be MP. This too has a pretty good looking chart. Looks like a nice, really clean bounce off the 200-day, which also happens to line up with our $50 key level that we have identified that the stock is clearly showing it is going after here. And now it looks like it's trying to break higher. So these stocks, keep them on your radar. This is not going away. Definitely not going away. All right. Day trader, I wanted to see here. I had asked you about this. I hope they figure something out and get something done before the midterms. Is that regarding the crypto angle that I was asking you about? For sure, there's a huge lobby against crypto legislation, and that helps integrate it into our daily lives. The idea of instant settlement and low fees for global transfers is a threat to the biggest companies in the world. Okay. All right. We'll see how this all shakes out here. I'm curious myself, actually. We'll see. I don't have a trade on any of this crypto-wise. Still hold a little bit of handful of different cryptos, but we'll see how this all shakes out. Okay. Dude, that might be the best timing. As soon as I said, okay, 13 joined as if he's ready to go. That might be, of all of these shows, that might be the best timing yet. That might be the best timing yet. Let's go ahead and start our pre-market pulse segment.
I'm doing all right. How are you? How's everybody else?
I'm doing really good, man. We've had an awesome interview here this morning already. It's been a great morning. We're one day closer to the game. Don't even
Oh,
get me
yes.
started on that. And yeah, we're doing really good here. So we do have a couple of pretty big movers here today. So hopefully you're excited for that.
Well, I mean, as soon as I came on here and was looking at the movers, we had another one suddenly pop up. So yeah, it's already seeming like it's a wild morning.
Okay, let's go ahead and dive right in. We'll start here with SPHL. This is going to be Springview Holdings. You see this stock closed at about 225 yesterday, and oh my God, we ramped hard here today. Big time shout out to the Benzinga Pro chat community who were all over this from the open there. This stock peaked its head above 12. It's since come back in and flirting with its VWAP here. The news: Springview subsidiary enters into an MOU with Jiangsu, I hope I pronounced that right, GSO New Energy to explore a strategic collaboration to introduce solar and energy-efficient solutions for residential housing projects in Singapore. So this is interesting because we've actually talked about solar as kind of its own theme, as a standalone theme, but now we're getting this PR here. This looks like Singapore housing projects, solar-related Singapore housing projects, excuse me. Stock is up 241%. This is off the highs here. Quick peek at the short interest on this, 3.25% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. On average, it trades 54,000 shares. This thing is a ghost town. Today, it's traded 40 plus million, and it has a float of sub 1 million, probably why we saw such an outsized move here. 13, what do you make of this whole thing?
Well, it is a memorandum of understanding, so there's nothing truly definitive here. This is just going to outline intentions. So there's no money to be made with this yet. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see how this develops. But it is an MOU, so I don't think I'm too excited about this. However, we do have some other things we can look at that may let this thing go a little bit more. We did have a recent reverse split last month as part of their NASDAQ recompliance. They also raised some capital to the tune of 1.5 million in December through Class A private placement shares. Okay. But the problem that I have with this, we're looking at their income statement, is their revenue is in decline. It has been for the past 2 quarters. I don't know that this is necessarily going to change anything in the short term, this news. So that's just the big concern I have, is that if you look at their revenue over the past several quarters, it's been in a steady decline. They do have a couple of quarters worth of cash. So if anything does come out of this MOU and it leads to some more deals, then that's going to be great news for it. But they've got a couple of quarters of cash, and I don't necessarily think that includes the 1.5 million that they raised through private placement either, because they haven't reported since. So probably a little bit more of a cash runway than what I see on the balance sheet. As far as the price action here today, we are actually right up at an area that was the earliest support from this decline that we had in March of last year. We took a big nosedive that took us all the way down to about 750, and then we bounced before we headed lower the next day. That area right there, we're just above, and this is kind of where it's interesting, because if you look to the left, to the right from that area, we've been trying to reattempt to get above this. The 725, 750, ever since we had that decline in March. But today, we're right back at it, and we're trying to hold above it right now. So from this particular area, we're above the 200 EMA on the daily, and we still need to recapture VWAP, because we came back underneath it at about 820 this morning, haven't meaningfully traded back over it to where we've seen any closes on the 5-minute chart. So if we can't recapture VWAP, I think it's down we go. And if that's the case, the downside support that I see, it's going to be around $4.75 to $5.
Okay, really good breakdown there. SPHL, Springview Holdings, our top mover of the day, still holding higher here by 235%. Okay, next on the list here is going to be ticker CJMB, and I want to say that we've traded this before off some move, although I can't exactly remember the context around it. This is Callan JMB. Callan JMB shares are trading higher after the company announced it signed a strategic lending agreement with BioStacks Core to provide comprehensive federal oversight services. So I'll be honest with you, that seems like, without going through the rest of the PR here, that seems like a bit of a jargon there. Approximately 50 to 75 million in total revenue, the multi-asset therapeutic pipeline. Let's see, what else do we have here? Combined with 25 to 45 potential upside for Callan JMB over the next 5 years. So reads pretty good here. Stock is up by 125% here today. Quick peek at the short interest on this one. Negligible. Is basically nothing here. 0.13% of the float shorted. Less than 2,000 shares held short as of the last reading. That's, of course, got 1 day to cover. And even with the paltry average volume of 38,000 shares, I don't think the short interest is going to mean anything here today. We've traded 19 million. Float on this is 1.4 million. 13, what do you think here on CJMB?
So let me just front run with an apology. I had less than 10 minutes to look at this one because it started going, about 15 minutes ago. So I didn't, get to do the full dive that I wanted to on this one. But this is a much better headline than what we just saw with SPHL, in my opinion, because
no doubt
this is actually a strategic strategy. They are going to be making money together. That's for sure. It's not just we might do this, we might do that. No, they're going full steam ahead. And the company has 1.41 million shares in the float, so very easy to move around. We've also seen some pretty significant insider buying lately. As a matter of fact, that's the only thing I see here on the insiders tab.
That's right.
Just nothing but insider buying, no selling. Now, as far as what this is, I believe because the combination here is you have Attune Biotech needing a method of distribution for their products through cold storage transportation. So I think this is the whole logistics angle here is getting these products out for Attune Biotech. Beyond that, I ran out of time, so I didn't get to dive into the financials. Doesn't look like they really make a whole lot of money. They're not quite profitable yet, but they're not losing a whole lot of money either. According to their balance sheet, they have about 1 quarter cash left, so may have to raise some capital here pretty soon, unless there was something in that agreement that guarantees them cash much earlier, which I'm not sure there is. So I think this is one that once we trade it, maybe just be careful. Don't stick around it too long. They still need to raise capital. We are trading beneath VWAP right now, following that impulse move that we got at about 950. 850. That took us up to 463, and we came right back down underneath VWAP and haven't been back there since. We've are getting some support from the 9 EMA right now. So if this happens to turn around here, let's watch for a recapture of that VWAP, which I currently have at 325.
Okay, awesome. I've got it at 313 here. I'm sure that's just because I don't have the same amount of candles and it's being calculated slightly differently, but in the exact same area. And you're exactly right. It does look like this is bouncing here. We'll see if we can recapture the VWAP as the next course of action. Okay, next stock here is going to be AUID. And did you cover this one? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
I did.
Okay, perfect. I was going to say, because this could be very exciting. We are already kind of on this theme here, and now we are seeing some more ramp in a different stock. AUID, you can see the move here. This was a penny stock yesterday, technically, although it was like 99 cents and almost $1 there. Today, we're actually above 230 here. Stock is up 130%. AuthID announces integration with ServiceNow to deliver secure, frictionless identity verification and authentication for contact centers. This, to me, while I don't have the stock, I'm actually extremely pleased to see this here this morning. I have been telling you folks for weeks. 13 has been doing the same thing. We've been having discussions on a daily basis about identification and authentication being an extreme theme here for 2026 and possibly beyond. Now we're getting a PR here that talks about this. This is to securely verify identities at the contact center and protect accounts and reduce fraud. That's the whole goal here. Quick peek at the short interest, 2.73% with 1.23 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of 1.26 million shares. We have traded 76 million plus shares here today on this stock. Stock's a little bit thicker than some of the other ones that we just took a look at, with the float being 2.65 million. But 13, tell me if you're as excited about this theme as I am.
Well, I am very excited about this theme. I got a whole list of different ideas for this particular theme, or I'm in some names for this particular theme. But with regard to AUID and this integration with ServiceNow, I'm viewing this as a kind of a little bit of more of a push to return to the office. Or if that doesn't happen, then you at least have a way of remote workers verifying that they're at their desks. They're not being logged in by anybody else. So that's kind of what the first thing that came to my mind about this. But the fact that we're using ID verification authentication to make sure there's no fraud occurring, it's great. I'm all here for it. We've got it. I think it's kind of out of control globally, the whole fraud industry. So I agree. This is great news. The company itself, though, this is very important. They have no debt, absolutely zero debt. They do need cash though, because I don't think that they're going to be able to survive a whole lot longer with their current cash burn rate, and they aren't quite profitable yet. But this is really exciting news. I think that they'll probably have to do some kind of capital raise at some point in the very near future. Whether that's a private placement or a public offering, I don't know. But with 12.6 million shares in the float, they certainly could add more to that structure. As far as the chart goes, we still it looks like we tried.
This is like a staircase to heaven here. Not to copy the Led Zeppelin song, but look at this thing.
Yeah, but that song still ended anyway. So
so good.
The 249 high that we hit here. I don't know if that's going to be the top. It kind of did give you a little bit of a reversal candle, but we're still trying to push higher here. So maybe it does come back in prior to the open. And if it does, then we'll see if VWAP can hold it up. But this has gone on a pretty nice run. So I think from where we are right now, I'd wait for the open because I think this could come back in a little bit before we hit that bell.
Okay, awesome. I've got VWAP here at 182. So maybe a pullback to the VWAP sets up a potential entry for a day trade, long side day trade higher. We'll see. Good stuff there. AUID. Full disclosure, some of the other names that we have talked about in this theme are IDAI, YOU, and DVLT was one of them. What else am I forgetting, 13?
There was I can't think of the ticker right now, but it was also on logistics. I think it's VRME.
Right. Verify me. Verify me. Okay.
So there's a lot of different names. And Jay, I noticed that U has been coming in. So has IDAI. Some of these names are going to go back and forth. That's fine with you. I don't have a large position, but I do intend to add to it. So let it come back in. I'll get it at a cheaper price. Totally fine.
Yeah, I'll too be doing that. Jay, we'll get to Riley here in a sec. Believe you me. All right. Next here though. All right, guys, let's try and have some fun here, right? The next stock here is Bonk. So this is just going to be fun just because of the name of the company here, Bonk Incorporated. The stock was $2.78 yesterday. We did trade as high as $6 earlier. We've come back in a little bit as we normally see. We're actually beneath the VWAP here. Bonk welcomes strategic partner 10X Protocols following a public debut and an acquisition of 220 billion Bonk digital asset tokens. TSX Venture Exchange acquires 219.7 billion Bonk digital assets as of January 5th under collaboration with Bonk. Excuse me. I just like saying Bonk. What can I say?
No, I'm sorry. That's for a different reason. I'm rubbing my head. I
wasn't even talking about you rubbing your head. Here, day trader. I was Brian. That's bonkers, mate. Well done, Brian. In fact, you'll get a 1-up for that one. Day trader. I was going to ask you. You didn't even need me to ask you. You just went ahead and said it. Bonk is popular crypto coin on the Solana blockchain. So, okay, that's really helpful. Glenn says he's passing. He doesn't care about this. And thinking about it is telling us that he's got an account with Bonk of America. Tell you what, you folks never let us down. This group never lets us down. You're doing it here today. Okay, back to seriousness here. Quick peek at the short interest. 8.15% of the float shorted with 1.97 days to cover. On average, this stock trades 350,000 shares. It's done 41 million plus here today, and its float is right in our range at just shy of 5 million. 13, what do you think here on Bonk, BNKK?
You are familiar with Dogecoin.
Yes.
And you're familiar with the Doge Bonk meme?
Yes.
That's what this is. It's just a meme coin. This is probably a hard pass for me. Maybe it does, it moves well, but this is just another Dogecoin in my view. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe Day Trader has some more light he can shed on this. But when the meme coin thing, I don't trust. Sorry, I just don't trust the meme coin.
Totally gotcha. Totally with you on that. I'm not necessarily interested in this. I'm I guess, intrigued that it's holding the 65 EMA here. Maybe it gets a move through VWAP. I do like saying bonk, so maybe that will help out a little bit too. But you have anything here on the chart?
Well, it is getting some support. So we did have this first impulse move early this morning around 8, and we kind of we're looking at some resistance around, looks to be like a 440, maybe all the way up to 450, and then we finally broke through that at 820 and captured VWAP. But here comes 850. 30 minutes later, we've fallen back beneath VWAP, and now we're it's back to the task of having to recapture it. So that's what I'd be keeping an eye on, this VWAP, because if get rejected again like we did at 905 or here again, then it's probably going to lose the 15 EMA, which has been providing support along with that 440 area.
Okay. It looks like we're curling right here. We'll see. Marty says, "Bonk of America. I almost choked on my breakfast taquito." That means we're doing our job correctly here. Day Trader here says, "I prefer holding the token and locking it for rewards versus buying stock tied to it. Bonk is the Doge of Solana,
there you go.
But it's different in that people behind it are public and active. The Bonk daily and weekly chart show a bear market, but it's a volatile coin that will have its bullish days again." All right, Day Trader, appreciate that breakdown there. That's ticker BNKK. And Tracy here saying Bonk was safety shot.
Oh, really?
So this is a ticker change from safety shot.
Now that was that the alcohol one that kind of reduces your drunkenness, or maybe I'm wrong.
Reduces your drunkenness.
I don't remember what the whole shot angle was, but I thought it was something to that effect. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't trade
sure
anymore.
is. Good eye, Tracy. Good eye. I should have had that one. I should have had that one queued up. But again, our chat just doing it. Absolutely awesome. Okay. Really good. Let me keep rolling here because I don't want to run out of time. CGTL and then Riley is what we'll do here. And then we can move over to see what else you folks want to take a look at. I think that's basically, we'll probably do that. So next one here is going to be ticker CGTL. This is Creative Global Tech. This stock closed at about 250 yesterday, at 350 here today, and there is no fresh news on this one. In fact, the last piece of news that I have is from December 31st. So it looks like this is just being kind of moved around. Maybe it's in a newsletter or something like that. Quick peek at the short interest on this name, 14.48% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 1.8 million shares. Today it's done almost 5 million shares, and the float is 1.4 million shares. Creative Global Technology Holdings conducts business through a subsidiary, which is a Hong Kong-based company sourcing and reselling recycled consumer electronic devices, currently mostly smartphones, tablets, and laptops. So this is going to be a China stock. What are your thoughts on this one, 13?
I just wonder if that has anything to do with the critical minerals angle, because if you're not going to mine them out of the ground, you're going to
recycle them. That's absolutely right.
So I kind of would lean on that maybe being the reason why this is going here today, but it doesn't look like it has a whole lot of strength. It took a while for it to get above its VWAP, but when it finally did break out, it went up to 425. Hasn't been back up there since. We did have another attempt at going to 425 about 20 minutes ago, but that was rejected around 420. So this is coming back down, and it already tested VWAP once. Same with that consolidation area. So that's kind of where the support is for the time being. Looking at the MACD though, this thing is at risk of rolling over and seeing momentum swing to the downside. So as long as it holds above VWAP, it might still go up, and we can maybe even draw a trend line if we want to give ourselves an area to shoot for. I don't know. We'll see it, but you could draw it from the initial impulse high at 740 and drop through the 425 high at 840. And then that kind of gives us something to shoot for there if we do see that upside and VWAP holds up. But if it doesn't, then the next area down where support could be is 315 underneath VWAP.
Okay, really good stuff there. CGTL, this is my favorite comment on it. Thinking about it, getting it done yet again. Sorry, but Creative Global Technology is not a particularly creative name for the company, and I would tend to agree with you thinking about it. Good stuff there. Okay, next here, this is going to be Riley. and this is B. Riley or BRC Group Holdings. Shout out to one of our frequent viewers here, Smell, who mentioned this in the happy hour yesterday. This is moving on the back of its earnings here. BRC Group Holdings shares are trading higher after the company reported a year-over-year increase in Q3 financial results. You can see the stock is actually holding higher here by 38%. The impulse move basically took us right to 1020. We had another move higher here above 11.5 earlier today, although we've bled back some of those gains. Quick peek at the short interest on this one, 29.27% with 1.6 days to cover. It is worth noting that the days to cover has come in since the prior read, largely because the volume has kicked up, but still fairly significant short interest there. On average, it trades 1.3 million shares. Today, it's traded 4.9. The float here is 20.8. 13, really quick. We had discussed this yesterday, and one of the things that we had come across is that Brian Riley, this guy is a gunslinger. He'll make some investments that aren't great, but he stays around for a long time. So we've seen this stock get beat to hell. We've seen this stock ramp. Today, it's the latter. We're trading up post-earnings. Looks like we tried to take another leg up on volume. Not all that successful. What are you thinking here on RILY?
Well, the daily chart is showing that the price up here is pretty extended. But at the same time, we've also entered into a gap fill territory back from August of 2024. This gap fills up at about 1685. I don't know that we'll see we'll get all the way up there today. We might run into if it does look like it's going to fill. I think we would start to see some resistance around 1740. I'm sorry, 17. Hold on, back up. 1470. Sorry, I got those numbers mixed up.
You're good.
So that if we end up starting to fill that gap at all, and we are a bit extended here on the RSI, the daily RSI. We're over 81. This could still extend a little bit higher. One of the higher prints on this is going to be up towards 89. So we certainly still could see some more upside that lifts the RSI that high. But I don't know that I'd necessarily be a long-term holder at this price right now. I think that this could still come back in following that news, especially with how extended it's been in a short period of time.
Okay, yeah, I would say with this one here, we've seen this. For as far as the investment angle goes here, if you're going to do that, if you're going to hold it, you really have to add this thing when it's getting pounded. Right? Yeah. When it looks like it stinks, that's the time to buy. It's not to chase these moves. As far as a day trade goes here, really good volume, good news on the back of it. So we'll see if this gives us a trade. As
long as it holds that 65 EMA, it's been riding that moving average up all pre-market. So if that falters, then I think we're looking at the let's see, on the way down, we have about actually the support area is almost in line with the EMA. So I would say somewhere between 950 and 960, you're going to see a really big area of support if we lose that 65 EMA. Beneath that, maybe 815.
Okay. All right. Really good breakdown. Those are the movers, the up gaps that we are taking a look at here today. 13. I would turn this over to you. Is there any other? We've got plenty of time here, right? We got 7 minutes, and I think we can probably go over some of the bigger stocks here. I know Jay Harris is already stalking a trade on Broadcom. Looks like that discussion's going on. Let me know. Is there any stock that you want to take a look at here today? I'm going to put it up on screen, let you talk about the chart, and step away for a brief second.
I don't have anything in particular I'd like to talk about, but if there's anything that anybody wants me to take a look at and maybe discuss while you're gone, I could do that.
Okay, let's try to do that. Izzy's saying Galaxy, 13 Galaxy. Is that GLXY, Galaxy Digital? Lion was saying CoreWeave and AMD. Okay, let's do those. Let's save Galaxy Digital. Let's do CoreWeave because I think that's one that folks have been looking at recently. We'll come back and do that. Well, sorry. What was that?
Okay. I said okay.
Okay. Okay. So here, let's start with CoreWeave. Here's the chart. I think one of the interesting things here is that we had talked about this maybe forming an inverse head and shoulders. I'd like to get your opinion here. Here's the daily chart for CoreWeave. I'll be right back.
Okay, so yeah, we've been talking about an inverse head and shoulders on this. It looks like that's kind of shaping up to be what's happening here. And with this move that we're getting over the past several days, we've recaptured the 50-day SMA, held above it, And finally, the 200-day SMA has started to show up. It started showing up on Tuesday. So great to see you. We also have an imminent silver cross here. That's where the 20-day SMA crosses the 50-day SMA to the upside. That's typically a bullish indicator that we're going to see some more upside here. To me right now, it looks like we could just be setting up to run to the 200-day SMA, if not just the $100 psychological level, because there is a small gap fill in that area as well as we gap down from November 10th to 11th. There's a gap in there that we're about to go up to and fill. So that would be kind of the upside range that I'm looking at for now. Don't know what's going to happen when we get to the 200-day SMA. If we're going to just keep on going and blow right past it, it might have to. It might just be one of those things where it depends on how the whole market's trading that day, or we could get rejected at that 200-day SMA. But I think that with this inverse head and shoulders, this resolution should continue to take us higher. I'd be targeting about 120. I think that's a level I've mentioned in happy hour. When we've looked at this one, I thought 120 was a pretty good spot, but we need to get above the now appeared 200-day SMA.
Okay, really good breakdown. Did you touch on the fact on how good your top call looks on this thing?
No.
You made a top call on June 4th of 2025 at a value of 166.64. When it lost that, it never got back to it. We'll see if it gets it again. That is still a really, really good call. That is still sticking out there. So
thank you. It still went about $20 higher, but I mean, it was pretty close. But you know,
yeah, it did that for about a week before it came back down to reality. So we'll let you slide on that one there. Okay, AMD was the next one. I actually had a story here on AMD about the CPU business really kind of being the big thing. They don't necessarily need to beat NVIDIA on GPUs, but rather focus on the CPU part of their business. Here's what the chart looks like. This has made a really good bounce off of the 100-day, and in fact, it's actually used this 100-day for really going back to December of last year. The move here today, we're actually up 2.52%. That's on the back of the Taiwan Semiconductor earnings. Stock did break above the 229.27 key level, the 226.69 key level that we have here. We're also above the 50-day moving average. It sure looks like it wants to try and take out this 234 recent high and maybe go higher. What do you think here on AMD, 13?
How would you like to draw a trend line?
I would love to draw a trend line, and I think I see where you're going to say it, but I'm going to wait for you anyway.
Start with April 8th of last year when we bottomed from Liberation Day, and then draw it through the low of September 18th and keep it going and look at what happened. Look what happened.
April 8th through September 18th.
Yep.
Is that this day right here? Yep.
Yep.
Boom.
So this is a trend line I've had out here, just kind of waiting to see what would happen when we interacted with it. Certainly enough, we got a real big bullish move off of a 200 support area. Took out the 20-day SMA that very next day, and then the day after that, we took out the 50-day SMA. So we're above both moving averages, including a 227 resistance area, resistance and support area that initially when we got that first gap up back in October. That took us up to 227, and then we sold off that day.
Yep.
That's when that became a support resistance area, because since that time, the price has been using it as both. So here we are now trading slightly above it. If we open above it, I'm going to want to see this hold up here, and we might trade beneath it and also hit the 50-day SMAs and back test that as support. But I really do want to see the price continuously close above 227. I think that's going to lead to more upside. And I think as far as the resistance levels go from here, I'd be looking at 241 and 260.
Okay. Really good stuff there on AMD. All right, we are less than a minute till we open here. I knew you guys were going to give too much. Really quickly here, I got to highlight this comment here. 13 called the top on CoreWeave, and Lion Atlas called the bottom. So if you're a part of our group here, you got tops and bottom calls. That's all you really need.
So real quick, a mover from yesterday. I think you know which one I'm talking about. It was a pretty high roller. This is starting to move here as we approach the open, and it's coming up to some resistance. So just wanted to point that out there. Be careful with this one. I don't know if it's going to give us the same moves we got yesterday, or if it's going to happen in the morning or afternoon or what have you. But here we are with this running up into the open.
And really quick, Izzy wanted to take a look at
Oh, that's
Galaxy
right.
Digital. The ticker is GLXY. This is actually, did this have news, Izzy? I think it might, right? It looks like it's spiking here. Indeed. Galaxy Digital completes large
5
load
seconds.
interconnection study and receives approval from ERCOT for additional 830 megawatts of computing demand in West Texas.
We're open. Yeah, ERCOT, that's the big regulatory body that manages the power out here. But yeah, so we're open. This is looking like it's trying to hold above 30 Galaxy, but this may probably, it could come back and fill the gap that it created today, and then we could see it go. But I don't have time to go over this one right now at the moment. We'll go over it in a little bit, but let's take a look at some of these other movers that we were talking about, seeing how they're doing since we just opened.
Okay.
Riley down out of the gate. SPHL not really doing a whole lot, although this might be getting going here.
Riley, by the way, so that down out of the gate took us right to that 200 EMA on the 5. Let's see, I think my scanner's frozen here. Give me a sec.
Yeah, and then we also have AUID that's trying to push up. There's a seller in the way at 210. If we get enough volume, we'll push through that area.
AUID, maybe we can resume the staircase to heaven there.
That's right. Okay, so SPHL tried to push up, ended up coming back down. It's still above VWAP at the moment, but this is looking a little weak out right out of the gate here. AUID kind of sideways. CGMB trying to capture VWAP right now. Bonk, a little bit lower, but really not doing a whole lot. Maybe it starts to get some volume here, but
SPHL looks like kind of a nasty head fake just then.
Yeah, we'll see if it can hold VWAP. Yeah. If it doesn't hold up here, then I think the 65 EMA is going to absolutely be next. And then let me see if I can pull up GLXY, see how that's doing.
CGMB, this might be making an attempt to try and recapture its VWAP.
So Riley went down to the 200 EMA and bounced. We'll see if it can recapture and hold above VWAP. CGTL starting to get some more bullish activity here as the VWAP has provided some support.
Interestingly, I'm seeing Coupang here. This is up by 1.5%. Software names have been killed recently. Mm-hmm. This might just be a little bit of a dead cat bounce here. Interestingly enough, this is not a whole lot of its average volume being traded. So looks like it's starting to curl here. I'd want to see this move a little bit higher before I trust this move.
CGMB starting to push a little bit higher now.
Right at the VWAP. We'll see if it can start to move away from its VWAP here. Is he mentioning that Netflix is ripping? Let's take a look. Netflix straight up out of the gate. Looks like it's going to try and recapture 90 here on Netflix. Oh, it's going right for it, is he? Did you take this for a day trade really quick? Not a bad move if you grab that there, Izzy.
So this has been getting some support from the 500-day SMA for the past week.
Oh, yeah.
So it would be nice to see it finally move up and away from it. 92 has next resistance.
Anne-Marie says Druckenmiller owns a big chunk of Coupang. I don't know anything about that trade.
Riley, after hitting the...
Sorry, it's okay. Really quick, Anne-Marie, do you have any takeaways from that or any other context around that? Sorry, 13.
So Riley is still trying to rebound. We're above VWAP. There's a halt now in CJMB after it blasted through the VWAP, halted to the upside now at 341.
Well, it looked like that happened fast from right where it went to the VWAP. Yeah, indeed. This halted to the upside.
Yep. AUID, maybe this starts to go now with that other one halted. It's got a lot of sellers in the way, just above 210. So going to need to see some large volume to get through those. I think this, it looked like we were having some multiple 100% plus runners, but I think it's starting to fade.
AUID actually looks like this might be trying to go here. Anne-Marie says, I saw it on his 13F. Okay, it's interesting. With software being killed, that's interesting. I wonder what he knows that we don't. AUID, that bounce looks like it's starting to slow down here. We'll keep an eye on this one. I'm not ready to give up on that yet.
Yeah, and we'll see if any of these others can get going here, because it seems like a lot of these are pretty much, sideways out of the gate here. Maybe Bonk is going to start to move up higher
Intel
here.
50 prints. Sorry to interrupt
Oh,
here.
really?
Intel 50 prints. Indeed. This is ripping out of the gate. I'm actually seeing call flow for the 50 strike supporting this. Those expiry dates are short term. One here is tomorrow. The other one is March.
Is it happening to go on the heels of the Taiwan Semiconductor earnings?
I would imagine. Let's see what else we had here. RBC Capital initiates coverage on Intel sector perform, announces a price target of 50. So it went right there. The news desk here, we covered this news article about AI being real. Taiwan Semiconductor CEO post the earnings print. That's actually being cited here as a positive catalyst for Intel. So yes, 13, I would say that this is indeed on the back of that per our news desk here. And then obviously Barclays also did not upgrade it, but instead raised the price target. They went from 35 to 45. That's Intel up 2.28% here today.
All right.
And it did peak above 50. It has not closed above 50, but it did in fact peak above 50 there.
All right, so just looking around here, seeing what's starting to move. So Riley actually starting to turn around.
Sorry to interrupt you again. The flow's been weak here, 13, but you're going to like this one. Big time call sweep here, GEV. This expires January 30th of 2026. Trader bought 500 contracts, spent $600,000 at the 700 strike. So this is an out of the money buy here. GEV looking like it's going to encompass the rest of January here. They think this higher, GEV higher out of the gate, 2.75% today.
That sounds good to me.
All right. Sorry, 13. Get in there. I'm not trying to interrupt you. I promise.
Okay. Just, looking around here, trying to see if there's anything that's really getting going. Maybe CGTL is about to make a move, but a lot of these names really, really sideways today. Now, remember the CGTL, this is the one we drew the trend line for. So if we get this activity that's going to, we actually might go up to the trend line here if this candle keeps continuing. That's going to take us up to about 475, maybe a little bit higher than that. But this looks like it's the one that's really making the moves so far this morning.
Really quick repeat sweep on GEV since that last one. Trader spent $287,000 buying 259 contracts. Again, same strike and expiry, 700 January 30th expiry. GEV. Multiple upside sweeps in that name. Meta now. Actually, it looks like there's the puts there. It looks like that's a mixture. I'm sorry. That was a little too quick there. SanDisk. Someone mentioned that SanDisk traded up here again. Looks like this went as high as 417. I'm actually seeing put sweeps now, 395. These expire tomorrow. So short-term regression back to the mean trade there on SanDisk.
All right, so just waiting for CJMB to unhalt here. Probably still got another few more minutes.
Halted at 9:38.13. It's 9:37 right now, so we'll get it here in less than a minute if it is in fact a 5-minute halt.
So it halted before now? 9:30.
Well, that's Eastern time.
You said 9:38, and now it's 9:37.
No, sorry, 9:33.
Oh, okay. 33, okay.
Eastern.
33. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, sorry. The unhalt time is 9:38. Sorry
okay.
for being unclear.
Gotcha. All right, so
it's open, and it looked like the first move was slightly lower there. CJMB.
Let's see if VWAP can hold. There's some sellers in the way at 340. Looks like we're pushing.
Here we
up
go.
Those.
341's the high print that I have there. There was some significant volume traded there. Here we go.
Yep.
They're testing it.
Nice.
And bang, right through. Anyone that had this one, there you go.
Fantastic. Great job. There's one. Riley getting rejected by the 65 EMA and some of the other smaller EMAs. So may see some VWAP pressure there. And CJMB, it's got the setup that could maybe take it back up to that pre-market high. I don't know if it will, but it's looking like that formation has that potential. As long as we hold VWAP, it could most likely still do that, but has to hold VWAP for now.
Really quick here, we had put up a poll question earlier regarding AI currently in a bubble. Remember, we got the Taiwan Semiconductor earnings. There's some talk there that they obliterated the bubble theory. I asked you folks, is AI currently in a bubble? Responses, no, it's just the early innings. That was 41% of you. The second one here is some areas are a bubble, but not all. That was 32% of you. 17% of you said, yes, valuations are overheated. And then too soon to tell, 10%. So it looks like that indecision group is actually shrinking a little bit. That's good to see.
Yeah, I think if there's any bubble that we're experiencing, it's going to be an ETF bubble. We just have way too many of those things. We have ETFs of ETFs. We have leveraged ETFs. There's more ETFs in the market than there are stocks. I think that if there's going to be a bubble at all, it's with ETFs. That
would make sense. By the way, CJMB continuing to pound highs here. Looks like we have an intraday high print there at 390. So that is continuing here. Really quickly, Matt says CoreWeave is bubbled despite that trading up here. Jeremy is asking, what was the GEV call on Jan 30? So there were multiple sweeps here on GEV. I have them broken out, 2 500 contract sweeps, totaled $600,000 per sweep, and then an additional one there at 259 contracts. That was about $290K worth of premium there. Yes, the expiration on all of those sweeps, January 30th, 2026. All right, Beyond Meat making the scanner.
Oh, yeah, is it back over $1?
Yep. $1.10, what was this? $1.11 looks to be the high there. Also, CJMB looks like it's trying to build up here at about 360. We'll see if this ends up having the strength to go higher here. Got to think 4 is probably next, and then 466.
So Beyond Meat on a daily chart, it's trying to recapture the 50-day SMA. I'd say that if you have a successful recapture of that, and you see a few more days close above it, maybe it comes back up to 150.
Squeegee is saying that they released a new protein drink, and indeed, we have a PR here today. Beyond Meat launches Beyond Immerse protein drink with peach, mango, lemon, lime, and orange tangerine flavors on the Beyond Test Kitchen. I wonder if those are full of chemicals too.
That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't, actually. I'm not at all moved by that.
No, me neither.
CoreWeave, which we're just talking about a little bit. CoreWeave now. Oops, come on, click on the right ticker, dummy. CoreWeave here trading up towards 100. Looks like 98 is finding the resistance right now.
All right, and we could find out as early as today as if we're going to hit that 200-day SMA and the 100 psychological level and blow through it, or if we're going to get rejected there. Roller still making some moves here. We actually might print a new session high. Just going to keep that one on my radar in case.
This right around the VWAP area too. I guess watch for this to launch here. Looking around, Bitcoin actually getting slammed a little bit here. That moved from 97.5 on the futures down to 96.2. That Netflix impulse move that we called out earlier, that's retraced about 50%. And stop me if you've heard this before, PayPal getting pounded.
That's all it peas.
Alliteration is flowing here today, 13.
All right, let me look at PayPal here because this was coming down to a support area. I do like it about 56, 55, 56. So, oh man, this thing still looks like it could go lower.
I'm sorry, which one? PayPal. I'm sorry. I was thrown off by thinking about its comment. Beyond Meat should team up with Celsius for a delicious meat drink. 13, I might need to go to the bathroom again. That sounds awful. It sounds absolutely awful. Oh, man.
Waiting for launch of IBRX. Let me look at IBRX. What's that about?
I can bring that up.
Immunity Bio. Oh, well,
by the way, a CJMB did break above 4.
Looks like IBRX is already starting to take off. Let me look at a daily chart here. Yeah, I mean, what do you mean waiting? It's doing it. It's already off.
Yeah, I will say this 350 area actually might be a significant resistance area. Maybe we test that right here on some volume. Did we fill that gap? No, we tried to fill that gap. So there was a gap here from about where we're at right now, 340 up towards 480. Back in February of last year, we tried to close that gap, could not. We'll be interested to see if we retest that here today.
For ROLR, which is currently halted. Once this unhalts, there's a couple of levels to the upside I keep an eye on. You have 25 and 27. If you look at the pre-market, 25 and 27 were basically the areas where it found the most resistance. And looking to the left, those are also some areas of supply from the regular session yesterday. So if we out of this halt, look for 25 and 27 to get hit. Don't know if we'll end up getting both of those, but if this upside continues, that's where I'd be looking at resistance. All right, bonk. Maybe it's trying to turn around here. It's still beneath VWAP though, so until it recaptures, I'm not really sure I'm interested in that. CGTL. This had a nice move that took it back up to 416. We're back beneath 4 for the moment, but we're coming down to some support around 365. We'll see if that ends up holding.
Yeah, CJMB looks like it's also struggling with 4. Looks like $4 is going to be a key level on 2 of these stocks here. ETVT, that was another mover from earlier. Is that moving again here? ETVT up 12.5%. Big move out of the open here. We actually are right at the resistance area from yesterday that turned this thing around. See if we can actually build above that, see what next level we can get on there. Maybe that $4 level, we use that as resistance. Oh, this was what, Tuesday? We used that on resistance before we finally went to the trend line. I would think that that's next here.
Yeah, I think $4 is
okay.
Well, I think the next one you're probably going to see 360. That's also a resistance area, but we get through that. 4 is next, I would say.
Okay.
Okay.
Lion, what are you trading out there? I know you're looking at some of those bigger stocks. What do you got here today? Joe here saying TSMC is showing that there's a rotation out of crypto and defense, drones, etc., into chips and dips.
Well, a dip was certainly bought yesterday.
Yeah, it sure was.
All right.
What those key and 13. I know we talked a little bit about the trend line. We had a little bit of a difference in the trend line. I did some due diligence on that. What happened was I actually started the initial part of the trend line origination, whatever day that was, the 17th or whatever day that was. I started it at the bottom of the body of the candle, not at the body of the wick, and that caused the line to be not as steep, which means at the end of the line, it was actually it looked like the price had recaptured it. So it really comes down to how you drew your line on that.
Yeah.
But given today's candle, we traded back above it anyway.
All right. Seeing some recovery happening in some of these movers, not all, but just some of them. Looks like CGTL is trying to push for that new session high. Current resistance at about 415. Pre-market high was 425. Riley kind of sideways right now, struggling to hold on to VWAP. Galaxy just reversed after seeing a drop that took it down to the 15 EMA. It's beneath VWAP, trying to recapture the $30 area.
I've got VWAP at 29.59. We'll see if we can recapture that. Jay here saying still no love for software. Both Oracle and CRM is red. That's one of the reasons why I thought the move up in Coupang was interesting, because that kind of bucks the rest of the software trend. Don't forget Microsoft also has been moving down on that as well.
Yeah, Microsoft, Meta. It seems like there's a little bit of a K-shaped divergence here happening with some of these Mag 7s. You got Google and I think really Google is probably the biggest winner. Maybe Amazon next, but some other names are just absolutely cratering, like Microsoft and Meta. So kind of an imbalanced Mag 7 there.
NVTS, another semiconductor name. This is actually up 4% on the back of those TSMC earnings. Intel, which we talked about earlier, that is doing its best to hold above 50. We did actually break it. Now let's see if we can hold above it. Also seeing some Tesla call sweeps across the wire here. These are all short-term trades, so nothing crazy here, but Tesla is also curling up. And then Jay mentioning the big reversal in Goldman Sachs. So I had reported here, Goldman Sachs, one of our stocks to watch here today. We had reported Goldman actually was down in the pre-market off of a mixed report. So they beat on EPS, beat big on EPS, 1401 versus the 1165 estimate, but they missed slightly on revenue. GS here, this did test 910 lows, huge reversal here. GS now 40, almost 50 points higher. Roller open and going higher, says Marcus. Marcus, it's good to see you again. Here's Roller. We did break above that. Next up here is going to be the pre-market high.
Yep, right through 25.
Bingo.
Right through 25, and now we're seeing a little bit of selling here, but 27 is the next one. If it can hold above 25.
Crypto is starting to bounce. We'll see if that's just a dead cat or if that actually has some legs to it.
Waiting to see if we're going to get any kind of turnaround here from some of the other movers this morning. SPHL looking like that's getting some support from VWAP. Has to get through all this sideways consolidation from the pre-market, though. AUID, similar, got to recapture that VWAP. It's trying to hit that right now. Maybe in the process of doing that, it recaptures $2. CJMB starting to look a little weak, pulling off the high, but still above the VWAP for the time being. Bonk managed to just, bonk its way through VWAP here, but we're still in the sideways consolidation from the pre-market. So not seeing a whole lot of upside activity yet. It looks like it could get going a little bit later, though. So keep an eye on it.
Jay mentioning SSYS. This is Stratasys. This is going to be in that 3D printing.
Oh,
nice little
man.
move here. Now, Jay, you're saying I'm still buying dips on this, but the YOLO calls are working. So let me ask you then real quick. First of all, do you think this has more legs for anyone that missed this initial move? This actually looks like a pretty good formation that's trying to go higher here. And then what is the plan with the YOLO calls? Are those short dated, long dated? Are you actually trimming those because you own the stock? Let us know what the strategy is here. Really nice move for Stratasys today.
Yeah, this thing looks like it's going to go to 11.
Spinal Tap reference. I'll take that all day, every day.
What?
That's a Spinal Tap reference.
Oh.
Why don't
I didn't know that I was making a Spinal Tap reference. I'm just saying that I think Stratus is
why don't you just turn the amp to 9, and then when you need that extra power, you can just go to 10? Well, because these go to 11.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Okay, Spinal Tap's a good one, but understand it's not quotable for everybody.
Yeah, not me. All right, so we are getting a little bit of a lift here with AUID. It's now trying to get over and hold over 2 right now. Maybe a little bit higher at 205. It runs into some trouble, but it just caught it. It's got a little bit at 2, so maybe it does push up a little bit more. We'll see.
Jay thinks 20 this year for SSYS. Okay, cool.
Oh, this year? Sure, it could go higher this year. I'm just saying the next resistance area I see is 11.
Yeah, no, but I like this. I like this kind of longer term price target. Matt says you got to see it, and I would second Matt on that one. That at least gives you something there.
Okay. So Jay, like on the way up here's some levels I'm seeing on the way up here. You got 12, of course, 11, 1250, 15, and then maybe 1750. But those are the next areas of resistance I see up there. But 20 certainly looks possible as well. And actually, when you get to 20, that's when there's a really big area of consolidation from 2021.
CJMB. So we talked about that move up towards the pre-market resistance. That has slowed down now, reversed and pulled to VWAP. Can we hold VWAP is the next question here. 335 is the value that I got there.
All right, so AUID came back underneath 2.
Roller making some more high rollers, it looks like. Look at Marcus out here. Marcus up 8 points nearly on this trade. Marcus, well done, dude.
All right, well, this blasted right through both of those levels that I had. Next one's going to be up around 32. Well, hold on a second. Let me take that back. Maybe 31st, then 32.
I won't argue with the round number there, but the intraday high from yesterday, we've got wicks up into a 33 handle there. Looks like that might be next. Marcus, let me know what kind of exit targets you have on that.
This one was just latched
Wisdom
onto.
trying to troll me with pineapple pizza, but that's not going to work today, boss. That shit's going to bounce off me like I'm Superman. Marcus trimming 75% of the roller trade. That's how it's done, folks.
Excellent.
Nice move. Marcus, really well done. The entire anatomy of the trade there. Well done. CJMB is trying to bounce from its VWAP. We'll see if that firms up a little bit. See if Kupang's giving anything back here. Holding higher just by a little bit.
CJMB trading beneath the VWAP. That needs to be recaptured sooner or else we're going lower, I think.
CRML, we talked about this for critical minerals here. This did pull to the 200 EMA and is bounced. We'll see if this can actually get above yesterday's intraday high. 19 would be the
You know,
19 would be the level.
I think it was last month or maybe in November. There was somebody in Happy Hour that was concerned about, they had gotten into a critical minerals trade, and it had continued to go down. And one of the things they were asking us is, is this going to ever come back? And one of the things that we said was, well, this is not a done deal. The trade tensions with China could certainly pick back up, and if that's the case, then this is going to be back on the table, because that whole trade. The whole reason why this went at all is because of the rare earths and the critical minerals, having restrictions. So now that we're seeing all that come back to a head, this has started to rise again. It started rising as soon as the year started. It might not be done. I don't think these trade tensions are done with. We're going to probably see some more upside as this as security concerns over critical minerals continues. And we also have less than a year now before we have to go back to the negotiating table with China over this. So
Wiss says, I'm going strong with dry January, but damn, I would celebrate gains with a nice glass of red tonight. Hey, Wiss, I'm just going to say this. First of all, congrats on your gains. Give you a register ring. I'll say this. Stay strong, buddy. Stay strong. But if you commit to a dry month, I think it's just really, really good for your health. You got this, buddy. You got this. That red will be waiting for you at the end of that period.
And if it's not going to be wine, try to get the purest water you can and treat yourself.
There you go.
Taiwan is in trouble, says Wisdom's Joint. Was there news?
Did it reverse? Let's take a look at TSM.
Oh, TSM. See, given the news that I've been watching, I've got my mind elsewhere. But
well, no, he might mean Taiwan, or he might mean the actual country. I'm just saying they happen to report earnings here today. So TSM, this did pull towards the 200. Looks like it's back on here. Nice recapture of the VWAP there. Yeah, Marcus says 217 days sober for me. Chewbacca absolutely loves that. I'm being informed by my producer he's going for a dry 2026. Look at you guys. The arc towards fitness is palpable here.
Well done, gentlemen.
Yeah, well done to everybody that's trying to do stuff like that.
High roller, still rolling high. Hasn't gone past the 2904 high that it put in about 5 minutes ago, but we are trying to push for it. Let's see if we're getting anything else from any of these other names. Maybe CJMB. This might be one of the last. There's 3 red candles in a row here, so I would be watching the next one to see if we can it can recover the VWAP. Bonk still sideways. Riley looks like this is kind of headed towards the 200 EMA again. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, it's really headed towards there now. SPHL, this looks like it's trying to get back to the top end of that consolidation, or at least back up to 8. Volume isn't looking great there for the moment. Let's see what CJMB does. There's a seller in the way at 360. See if we can get back through that. Any good entry points? I mean, it looked like there could have been one around 315 if it got down there, but it's trying to hold up and recapture VWAP now. And at the same time, I'm not liking the way the MACD looks. It looks like this could continue lower. So we'll see what ends up happening here. It's trying to recapture VWAP at the moment, and there's a big seller in the way at 360. So gotta wait to see if that gets taken out or not.
I'm just going to go down the scanner list here. SAG, this is lottery.com, SEGG. This looks like this had a nice move out of the gate. Barely holding on to $1, though. See, Morgan Stanley, they also reported earnings here. They have a chart that looks almost identical to Goldman Sachs. And in fact, both of these trying to go higher here. MSGS, both of them look like they might push higher.
CJMB pushed through that 360. It's trying to take out the next big seller at 380. So it's trying to hold VWAP here. It might end up coming back up. 420 appears to be the big resistance area. 420, 421, somewhere right around there. If it comes back up here.
CJMB, this is a nice little bounce off the VWAP there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was waiting to see if this would get down to 315 where the support looked a little bit better, but we didn't even get down there.
JPM, seeing this on the scanner, this actually bouncing back after yesterday's move down. Bank of America also on the scanner. It looks like financials picking up here. They had a weekday yesterday, so it might just be kind of a regression back to the mean here today.
Alpha Trade saying OCUL is being acquired.
Okay, Ocul.
It's up 10%.
Trading higher after reports suggesting Sanofi is preparing a revised bid for the company. So this is actually not set in stone yet. Francis Laletter, I can't do it. Sorry. Reported Sanofi is preparing a revised bid for ocular therapeutics. For anyone that's interested in this, here's the link out of Pro for you.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and see what they were already being offered. Because if they're going to revise it, it's probably going to be a higher revision. And if that's the case, then maybe this could see 1450. We'll see. All right, so it looks like high rollers.
So you'll have to translate this. Sorry, 13.
Did we look at the cell phone carriers after yesterday's hack? Well, my understanding is that it necessarily wasn't a hack. There was some problems with, well, Verizon's alluding to some issues with a New Jersey server that caused those problems.
Now, wasn't the outage localized to some East Coast areas like New York, New Jersey, the Carolinas, and Florida?
No. There were some folks out here that had that same issue.
Okay.
My wife wasn't able to make calls, but her data still worked. I had no problems.
So you know what's interesting about that? I too have Verizon, and I had no issue. Data, calls. But one of my coworkers actually did have an issue. He sent me an outage map too, and man, it looked. Yeah, you know what? I beg your pardon, 13. I'm sorry. On the outage map, it clearly extended into Texas, but it looked like it was a humongous outage, mostly on the East Coast.
And the really interesting thing about this is that 2 years ago to the day, the same thing happened. The same thing happened.
That's got to be a coincidence.
2 years to the day. People were also reporting that they had that SOS on their phones, just like that was happening yesterday.
Yep.
So, and you know what was interesting about at that time is that we had U.S. and UK had just begun airstrikes against Yemeni Houthis. Remember that whole them shooting rockets?
And you know what else is crazy about that, 13, is that last night we heard reports that there were planes on the border of Iraq and Iran. So that interesting, 13.
So I'm not going to rule out that it wasn't a hack. Sorry, it wasn't a hack, Wisdom, but that's their excuse that they're giving us right now, is that there was some issue with the server in New Jersey. Might be a hack. I mean, here's the thing: if it was a hack, in the past there's been admissions by multiple companies that they were hacked, and that data was stolen. So if they're holding on to that, then that could be bad for the stock.
Yeah, and D Matthew here saying, D Math the Beast, probably a hack, but they won't admit it. That's kind of where I find myself too. It feels like that, doesn't it?
That's why I'm on the fence about whether or not they're going to admit it, because lots of companies have admitted to hacks in the past, and because it's not something that they want to kind of hide and have other folks reveal later when they could have done it themselves. I think that kind of chases people out of investment. So we'll end up seeing your cell phone in Florida, Texas isn't being routed to New Jersey. Well, all I'm saying is that that's the excuse they were giving as to why they had these outages. I don't know how the whole system works, but that's just what they've been saying.
Really quickly here, CJMB did find some resistance there at 4. It did pull back down to the VWAP, has not lost it yet, but a nice little 60-cent range there. The Live to Trade says, don't underestimate incompetence. Yeah, indeed. That's a pretty good piece of advice there. Interesting. Joe says, I have Verizon. I was up late and I'm in New York City and I didn't notice any cell phone issues.
Like I said, only my wife, she had, she couldn't make calls, but she could still use data and text. I had no issues. So it's really weird how it affected different people. There's no consistency to it. It seems they blew a flex capacitor. 1.21 gigawatts. All right, so Riley's getting a little bit of a reversal again here. I'm not sure how great these are going to be. These have not really been giving us a lot, except for the one from yesterday, High Roller. That's so far been one of the better movers here out of the gate.
Looks like it's struggling with 28 at the moment.
Okay, CGTL, maybe this current push that it's experiencing right now finally gets a close over $4. Trying to get over that all morning since we opened.
Matt says 1.21 gigawatts. What's that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Doc Brown today reading these PRs about these nuclear companies and these data center companies? He would blow his top.
Petahertz?
He would blow his top. Goldman Sachs day highs.
Yeah, he was already trying to create AI before anybody else was making it cool.
And VIX, by the way, we've looked at the VIX quite a bit here. 1569. That is down from 18 and change yesterday at its high.
Another one from earlier this week, about the same time we were trading EVTV, AHMA, also seeing a nice day. We just had a big impulse move that took us up from 1685 all the way up to almost 19 just a moment ago.
AHMA, nice move here. SPHL, this is one of the ones that we were taking a look at that's done nothing here today. Kind of disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah, but this was also the one that had, I think it was the MOU. Yeah, so
yeah.
But here's the thing: it's got a very low float, so I'm just kind of waiting to see if this ends up, making some kind of massive move because it has a low float and it's easy to push around. Just waiting to see if we end up getting something like that. So far, not yet.
Frozen King's asking, would Back to the Future be a Bugatti or a Koenigsegg? I would vote for a Koenigsegg because that car is just unbelievable. It's made entirely of carbon fiber. So that would be my vote, Frozen King. Get that thing going in a Koenigsegg.
To continue with the stainless steel theme, it'd probably have to be a Cybertruck. I'm just kidding. I would probably go with the Koenigsegg as well. But I feel like for the car they would have to use for that, it's going to have to be, on a more obscure brand, but not so hypercaristic, because the DeLorean is not a hypercar by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, that engine was pretty much dog shit.
That thing was a rust bucket too. John DeLorean ahead of his time, no doubt though. Joby and Archer ripping here. This is a good mention, Izzy. I know Archer really kind of moved quickly there. Let me see if there's news on either of these. Easy for me to say. Don't have anything here on Joby. Let's check Archer. Both of those moving in the same direction.
I had a headline yesterday, but nothing today, it seems.
Yeah. Yep. Needham $10 price target. We're only 90 cents away from that. 88 cents away from that.
Wonder if there's any if there were news, it would probably show up one of those news feeds. So yeah, I don't know why we're getting this move today. Archer still beneath its 200-day SMA. Joby is above it's above all its moving averages. As a matter of fact, this looks like it's setting up to try and push higher. Keep an eye on 16. That's the level I think we need to start closing over again. And then there's also a trend line that might provide resistance as we approach 18. But 16 is the next big level I think we need to get over here.
All right. Izzy mentioning that Amazon is red. And remember, Amazon released their European sovereign Amazon Web Services infrastructure. That was a big thing here this morning in Europe. Amazon red off the back of that. Izzy, doesn't this really kind of have to hold yesterday's lows here? Pretty much almost right there, aren't we? Oh, come on, Crosshair. 236. 236, I think, is going to be one of those key levels. Yeah, Joe, like I said, the story about John DeLorean is absolutely fascinating. Definitely a supercar hero. Man, I wish I was around for some of those drag races on Woodward when it first started. Oh, that would have been so much fun. You'll be happy to know that I've since been on Woodward with the Beamer, and I absolutely smoked a Mercedes who tried to step. And I'm talking like dude had like sad face when he got absolutely gapped and taken a Gapplebee's. So Woodward's awesome, folks. Woodward's awesome. Be sure to drive on Woodward at some point in your life.
Well, you don't want to go up against the ultimate driving machine.
No, you do not. No, you do not.
I think I would be for a driving experience. I think I'd be taking a Beamer definitely over a Merc.
Yeah, well, in this case, when it comes to engine power, there was no dispute who was on top of that hill. So, like I said, that was fun though. Woodward's great.
Great. Pretty Panda, I think you're right here. Just let's see what we end up getting with this AUID. We're looking for a recapture of $2. That would be great. And then maybe this finally does get going. It takes us back up to towards 249 where we were at in the pre-market.
That's a really good job holding this pullback here right at the VWAP.
Yes, sir. And
again, let's maybe not rule out the stairway back to heaven.
You got to play the first few notes when it starts doing that. When it starts climbing higher, just play the first few notes of Stairway to Heaven.
Kathy says, I live a quarter mile off of Woodward. Kathy, I'll let you know the next time I'm in Detroit.
Go for a ride.
Well, the other thing, you ever been to Como's, the pizza restaurant off Woodward? I think it's in Ferndale. Let me tell you something. I'm a Chicago pizza guy, but that Detroit pizza, you get the right one, it is phenomenal. No, I'm not talking like Jets or the chains. I'm talking about like the actual restaurants.
We have Roller trying to recapture VWAP here, although it's got a lot less volume. That's a little bit concerning. SPHL recapturing 7. AUID popped over 2. Still trying to push higher. We did end up getting up to, it looks like 211. Coming back in. Let's see if we hold VWAP. CGMB still trying to get above VWAP. There's some sellers in the way at 367 and 370 of a particularly large size. Bonk is getting bonked. This has some support around the 390, and then after that, the 65 EMA. Riley's above VWAP, but it needs to recapture the 65 EMA if we're going to see any more upside here. That maybe this takes us up to about 1050 if we can recapture 65 EMA. What happens then? I don't know.
This looked like this was going to set up on that move down to the 200 in the bounce, but it really didn't have the strength to get back above the VWAP. I think had we have crossed that, we might have tried to retest 11. But maybe that's still in the cards here on Riley.
Yeah, it looks like some of these are trying to make their way back up. Let's just see what we get here.
ASML, we talked about that one earlier today.
SPHL has just kind of, seen weak momentum all morning following that impulse move. So could be about the time for this to get going. We'll see if that ends up happening.
Marvell, this is higher here. So the chips and dips comment from earlier, all the chips looking pretty good. I wonder what the SMH looks like here today.
Now, when you say dips, are you talking about all the dips in the market, or basically are we talking food?
I think that he's talking about the dips on the chip stocks, I would guess, but I'm just going with the comment there.
Whoa. Big move here in SPHL. Just all of a sudden, big pop. That was awesome.
This halt risk here? So let's see.
Maybe if we get a little bit more volume into this, that takes it up to that quickly takes it up like over 9. But it looked like that kind of got suppressed pretty quick when we moved over 8.
And that just right through the VWAP. Yeah. And you're absolutely right about that volume pop. Clearly, that's what's driving this here. I think we need to get above 850.
Galaxy just popped above its VWAP as well. We have IBRX that was mentioned earlier. That's getting some support from the 325 area, but it's still beneath VWAP. CJMB, this lost its VWAP and it's losing some other EMAs. Next support that I see from here is if it doesn't get some support here, then the next support I see is going to be down around 250.
And CJMB, that's kind of a nasty pull. Galaxy back on the scanner here. This is Izzy's Galaxy from earlier. This moving through the VWAP here, Izzy, 2956.
Looking for 30.
Yep. And that SPHL move, what a good shout that was. This is continuing here. Let's see if it can get above 850. Maybe it make its way to, I got 9, maybe 850, 9, and 10.
Yeah, if it gets through that 925 looks like a spot. Maybe 970 as well. then we have 10 prints. Oh wow, look at this thing get going here.
That was a really good mention. Izzy mentioning FTAI with a ton of eyeballs. Let's see what's going on with FTAI. This was another really successful short report trade that we had last year, if you recall. FTAI straight up, FTAI Aviation. What does the daily look like on this?
Oof.
Oh my.
I think this is probably one that if I was holding this, I'd probably be either trimming or maybe taking some profits big time.
Trim into strength, folks. That's what this chart's telling me.
Yeah, this is a very, very extended chart. I don't know that we've ever seen an RSI this high in the stock. Just looking to see if we've ever gone up to 87. I'm not sure that we have. That's going to be a new high for the RSI. Don't let me tell you what to do with your money, folks, but I think it's worth exercising a little bit of caution here, maybe even taking some gains just because of the move we've had since the start of the year. I mean, how much is this up since January? Okay, so this is up 38%. It's not bad. Do what you want with this, but man, that's a good
move. I'm with you on that. I would concur 13. And then Lion and Jay Harris, I know you guys care about Broadcom here. It's up 2.5%. Actually, it looks like Broadcom might try and roll higher here. Did you have this is moving up? No, you didn't have any levels there. Sorry, I wanted to see if you had any levels that you were giving out there on Broadcom. Lion saying, Ryan, you remember FTI short report? Yes, I just commented on that.
Yep, that's right.
Whoa, Izzy saying, wow. Ryan, the National Card Show in Chicago is the same day that the Yanks play the Cubs in the summer. What day is that? That maybe I'll take a look at that. I should tell my card collecting buddy about that too.
AMA, what I mentioned earlier, that continued higher. 21.18 is now the high, but we are getting some pull in this one now, maybe even a reversal here. Watch for support from VWAP. SPHL, following that blast through 8, is now coming back in to back test some of these smaller EMAs. See if that can hold up. And if it does, then there may be some more upside that takes us up to 10.
Okay, Marcus thinks TSM is going to come back into its VWAP. I think TSM will pull back to its VWAP. I've got that value 344.95. So you're looking at what, 4 or 5 point move there? Just above the inflection point. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if TSM's ever really been this extended or this overbought. It looks like it could still maybe push a little bit higher, but we are getting pretty close to the point where this is probably going to have to come back in and cool off. Not a bad morning. It took a little while with some of these. So.
No, not at all. And actually, some of the oil stocks are starting to move up. Ondas is pulling back, but that's all right. It's had a pretty big move. Not bad. July 31st. Okay, you're not kidding. That's like the end of summer. Or I guess August is still summer here. Izzy, are you going to that? You'll have to let me know.
Yep.
And you're a Yankees fan too, aren't you?
Yeah, buy low, sell high. That was the big news. Integration with ServiceNow. And it was funny because we were just talking about ServiceNow yesterday about how it was getting hammered down, and then you get this news. And I don't think now ServiceNow has recovered. As a matter of fact, no, it's going lower.
This is part of the software theme. Jay was talking about this earlier. This continues here.
And this one actually broke a key trend line that was providing support. You may have this on your I don't know if you do or not, but it's a trend line that I drew through the lows of May 2024 and April 2025. We've broken that trend line. That to me is bearish. I think we're going to see some lower prints. We could get, I think because of how oversold this is right now, we might end up getting a little bit of a rebound, but I still think that this could end up going lower. It's just, it's really, really big downside move in a short period of time. All right, Riley's still coming back up. It's a recapture the 65 EMA. SPHL also recovering here after testing some of those smaller EMAs, looking to make a new session high, looking for 9. AUID, I think it was just mentioned here. Pretty kind of saying AUID not giving up. It seems to be the case, but we do need to see some higher prints here pretty soon. Anything else? Anything else looking good?
Yeah, Jay, really quickly, that mentioned there. So, Jay, I did not look at the near-term ones. I generally look a month out on those, but Jay bringing up a really good point. We had talked about this a couple of times. On DOS, if you listen to me, those 15 calls you could have sold for $1, I think, not yesterday, but maybe the day before, they expire tomorrow. They're 11-cent ask right now. That was a really good call. Jay, I should probably look at some of those shorter dated change. I normally look at the ones that are like a month or maybe even longer out. Maybe I should do that. That is a good mention.
Well, so Ryan, let me ask you, because we've outlined some levels of where Ondas could go to, and I've got, and 15 was one of them. I also like 16, 18, and 1950. Should we start to climb back up into those areas? Are you going to sell calls into those strikes so that, because I know you want to take profit on some of these, but would that be the way you'd want to do it, just to sell covered calls?
Yeah, I think now, given the fact that I've lightened so much of this and booked so much of this, I have a little bit more leeway holding the remainder. So yes, what I would like to do is I would like to sell calls on impulse moves higher. The last time that this happened, we actually traded down a little bit and I was selling calls there. It ended up not being all that great. And I actually bought them back because I wanted to hold the stock because I suspected we would move higher here. But to answer your question, yes, I would say at this point now, because I'm not in a rush to liquidate more of this, I would probably use that by selling covered calls.
Pretty Panda, you nailed it. AUID, we did a new session high. We're still trying to get up to the pre-market high of 249, but we have a new session high right now of 231. Great call.
And then Jay here, yeah, this is a really good rule for thumb here, and I should adjust mine. Rule for options in general: sell short-dated premium, go long the longer-dated premium, as that's less. Those longer-dated premiums are going to be less impacted by near-term fluctuations.
SPHL, I don't know if it's gonna actually do it, but it's setting up like it wants to push higher into 9. So I mean, keep an eye on it if you're looking for a trade. It might end up doing it, but the news on this one wasn't that great. Remember, this is the memorandum of understanding. So just keep that in mind if you're trading this. Okay, what else is looking
so
good?
Marty's asking a really good question here. Marty's saying SCOTUS decision and after hours on Friday. Oh, I think you mean on after hours on Friday, or does it extend into Tuesday? Well, isn't that the $64,000 question? 13, we kind of talked about this yesterday. If that decision is looming, 3-day weekend, maybe more increasing tensions with Iran, sure doesn't seem like a weekend where people would be loading up long exposure, does it?
Well, I don't think that there's a whole lot of long exposure going into the weekend. I think I agree with that. I don't know what we're going to get out of Iran, but I don't think that was really the point of the question. The whole SCOTUS thing, it's interesting how it's been delayed. And as long as it keeps getting delayed, I think the market's going to continue to get more and more bullish until that date actually arrives. But that's just what the American side, the U.S. side is keeping an eye on is the tariff ruling. Meanwhile, the international investment community is keeping an eye on what's going on with the Fed and its independence. So two different sets of eyes looking at two different things right now. We're keeping an eye on the tariffs. International community is looking at the Fed. Here we go with SPHL looking to push towards 9. We're about to get a new session high here.
Breaking out of this formation literally as we speak here, 13. Couple more minutes and we'll start our wrap up today. Yes, Wisdom, we heard the feedback and we extended the show a half an hour.
Yep.
And I love to see that you folks are sticking around for it. Absolutely fantastic. Don't forget to hit that like button though, because that really helps us and it helps us sell that decision that we just made.
SPHL, new session high, not quite 9, but we're about to hit it. And I think we just did. There it is. Oh, wow, look at that go. So, yeah,
next.
We crossed 9. We went through 950. 1242 is the pre-market high. Maybe we'll get up there, but, don't sit on it hoping for it. Just make sure you're paying yourself on the way up here with these. These are day trades, not investments. You rock it, Edwards. Big rally next week. I mean, I'd love a rally every week, to be honest. Looking around here, that SPHL, I think that's going to probably be the one before we sign off here for the day. We are seeing Galaxy Digital continuing to climb up here towards 30. It's actually over 30 now. 30.59 was the I think that's the pre-market high.
Matt, in 832, out 942, $1.10. You earned yourself a register ring today, buddy. Great trade, SPHL.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one required a little bit of patience, but it was holding VWAP, or at least my VWAP. And as soon as I continued to do that, we really started to get some volume picking up, especially with that 10-15 move through all the EMAs that started this this rally that we're in right now. I don't think that's a bad idea at all, Ann. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Well, is there anything else we should be looking at before
no, I think we can actually probably just start the wrap process here. We generally go over when we wrap these anyway, so we might as well just kind of recover some of these. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else interesting that I haven't seen. I noticed Walmart's on the scanner. That's trying to go higher here. Yeah, we talked about retail trading because of the SCOTUS decision, so I don't know what that means. What do you have?
EVTV, we were looking at this one earlier. This is actually rolling over. It just lost its VWAP. There's a seller walking it down. If there's going to be some support, it's probably going to be around 325 or maybe the 65 EMA. But this just lost VWAP, and its momentum is starting to swing to the downside. So be careful with that one.
Hey, Kay Tyler says, I think this is a first. Bought at the printed low, sold at the next printed high on CJMB. First ever. Look, those top and bottom ticks, don't try for those because it's hard to get. But when you get them, man, maybe go buy a lottery ticket. Maybe today is your day.
Or maybe go for a walk and just reflect on how well you've conducted your life.
Okay, you can do that too. Hey, look, I walk every day. You're never going to hear me say don't go for a walk. Really good for you, especially after you eat something. All right, 13, let's go ahead and just start the wrap here real quick. Again, there's nothing on after us here today. We will be back again tomorrow. Look forward to Mark Petrino and Anne-Marie Band tomorrow. But we'll go ahead and start with the wrap up here. First one is going to be SPHL. This was our big gainer today. It was our biggest in the pre-market. It's still our biggest here today. And the good news is that this didn't just completely crater and retrace everything. Big impulse move above 12, back down to the VWAP. Nice little move away from that VWAP here. Sure looks like 10 is the next spot here for me. What do you got on SPHL 13?
Yep, double digits are the next one that we're going to want to keep an eye on for SPHL. Remember the news on this one, not that great. It's just a memorandum of understanding. But the good part about this is that the float is very, very low. It's under a million shares, very easy to push around. So we might see this pushing to the upside of this. And the high in the pre-market was 1242. Not sure if we're going to end up seeing that again, but that gives you an idea of where this could end up going. Next, we just need to see if we can get it above 10. But this one looks like we could still see some higher prints if that volume continues on this low float stock.
Okay, next on our list is going to be CJMB. This is actually our second biggest gainer of the day. This too had a wild pre-market here. Now, one thing to note, we did not yet challenge the pre-market high. I don't want to say it's completely out of reach here, but now with these wicks above, we actually have a trend line that represents a target for a new trade and a possible breakthrough area. We're currently right beneath the VWAP. We'll see if we have enough strength. The volume's declining, so you'd really like that to turn around. That would bring the MACD with it. What do you got with SJMB 13? Excuse me, CJMB. I beg your pardon.
Well, this is kind of compressing into a bit of a symmetrical triangle. Maybe even we can call it a bit of a bull pennant. But this is trying to pick up from the down swing that it had in momentum. It doesn't look like it's recovered yet, and I have concerns that the price is going to fall out of this triangle. So I think to get an idea of what's going to happen, watch how it interacts with VWAP. We continue to get it rejected by VWAP. I think that tends to lean more on the side of we're going to fall through this triangle and maybe even test some of the lower areas around 260. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at here with CJMB if we cannot get back above that VWAP.
Okay, next one is AUID. This is Auth ID. Remember, this is a theme that we're both big on. Although we don't own this stock, we do own others. Same deal here. Possible trend line that we would really need to take out. We are above the VWAP. This actually looks like it might be trying to go higher, but I would trade it against that trend line. Volume's still looking pretty good here. This is an integration with ServiceNow. What do you have here, AUID?
Much better news headline. I do like the fact that this company has no debt, but it looks like they are going to have to incur some debt because they need cash. I don't know if this integration with ServiceNow is going to see any immediate revenue for them, but and I don't know if they've done any capital raises since their last earnings report. But based on their balance sheet, it did look like they were going to need to raise some capital. Aside from that, the stock looks like it's still wanting to try and push higher. Just watch and see if we can get above the 225. We did hit a high of 249 in the pre-market, but right now 225 looks like the big resistance area.
Okay, AUID. Last two on the list here. Bonk, BNKK. Fun name, fun to say. Ticker change. Didn't really give us much of a trade here. It is holding right around the 9 and the 15 EMA, but it's beneath its VWAP. Maybe it makes a run a little bit lower. Volume less than impressive on this name. Anything else that I missed on Bonk?
Well, maybe with this the momentum starting to swing towards the upside, we may see some higher prints than what we've seen out of the gate this morning so far. I don't know that we're going to see 607 again, which is the pre-market high. And this is a stock that's on a meme coin. This is Bonk is a meme coin in my opinion. So just understand the risk here with this one. I don't necessarily think this is really great to own. It might not even provide that many great trades, but if you're looking for something maybe later on this today to trade and it still hasn't made a big move, just keep an eye on it for some moves that could take it back up towards 5. I'd say that 485 is the next upside resistance area, though.
Okay, and then the last one here is going to be Riley, RILY. This is BRC Group Holdings. This was up on the back of its earnings report. Pre-market had a little bit more action here today, but we've really just kind of traded sideways. We're holding the pre-market lows from today. We're holding the 200 EMA so far, but we are beneath the VWAP and kind of moving sideways, and the volume continues to decrease here. High short interest on this name, so maybe it gets kicked up in the afternoon. What do you think, 13?
It looks better on a daily chart. We just moved this earnings yesterday pulled it over the 500-day SMA, and we're still holding that. The problem is that we're pretty extended on the RSI. So, and we could still, push higher. The RSI, this is not the highest the RSI has ever been. So we could see this continue to go higher. I don't think that we're going to see a gap fill. That would be quite impressive. We may end up filling it over a longer period of time. But for just today, we only hit 1164. We haven't been back up there since. We're still in the sideways consolidation following the earnings. We may just end up staying within this range for the majority of the day. But we could also experience a short squeeze since that short interest is high. But for now, I'm not sure if we're going to see a whole lot of fireworks in this one.
Okay. Well, if we don't 13, that's okay, because we always have tomorrow. And that's when we'll be back. What? I know, that's weird. Okay. Anyway, 13, any closing words for the group here? Really good stuff today.
Oh, yeah, really good stuff. Fantastic trades. We had a great time. We just needed to be a little bit patient with some of these, but they worked out pretty well. So, folks, tomorrow we'll see what's moving. We'll find some trades. We'll trade them and make some money just like we did today. Until then, take care. Have a safe rest of your day. Goodbye.
All right, really good stuff, 13. We will see you tomorrow. As a reminder, we will have our last happy hour of the week tonight. So if you're a pro member, be sure to check out the happy hour. We discuss trading ideas on a regular basis. Really good stuff here today. Interesting news flow. Great interview with GT Biopharma there. And then some pretty good setups here. So looking forward to doing it again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.